Well, it's been a long while since I've been live here on YouTube. Done a lot of content video wise, and well, why not come back live with a couple of great people for a very, very special occasion? The NFL free agency tampering period begins on Monday. The draft, obviously, is next month. So we're going to go over all of it. I got one more guest definitely coming in, but we got Drew from Two Giant Goofballs here. Jacob posted the links to their YouTube in the comment section. It's also in the description. Also, you could follow them on X with the same thing, Two Giant Goofballs. And we also got KB, who's been on here a number of times over the past few years, as per usual. You guys can follow him at his YouTube channel and his Twitter. And then we got Digge here. I love the backdrop because what I was thinking coming into this before I throw out my first thoughts, and of course you guys can go subscribe to Diggy's account and follow him on Twitter. Is I was thinking, I want the Giants back. I want the backdrop of the show not to be MetLife Stadium, but like a orange, hellish MetLife Stadium. And Diggy just followed that up. So I'd like to thank him for doing that, and contributing to the theme of a very interesting off season. But with that said, I'll start around with first thoughts. I'll start off with Drew, and then we'll go with Diggy and KB.
Yeah, so first off, thanks for having me on there. Appreciate it. Good to be on here with all y'all. But I think the number one thing this offseason, let's be honest, it's quarterback. Number 2 is quarterback. Number 3 is quarterback. Number 4 is quarterback, followed by, of course, number 5, quarterback. But let's be honest, that's what this whole offseason's about. We haven't had a decent quarterback in how many years? And we have a top 5 pick with 2 quarterbacks coming out that are as controversial as all hell right now. You got plenty of actual veteran quarterbacks coming out, but none of them are necessarily perfect, of course. That's why they're available. This whole offseason is going to be quarterback, I'm telling you. Until this draft is done and we know where the dust is going to settle, it's going to be quarterback.
And we will be connected to each and every one some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
So, Diggy, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? Always happy to be on. I would agree. It's definitely about the quarterback. I thought that we would have Matthew Stafford. I thought that Matthew Stafford was going to be our quarterback, but apparently he was kind of using us for leverage. I'm not a fan of Aaron Rodgers. I really would not want to have to root for him every week, but he might be our best shot at this point at getting like watchable football if we don't get a rookie quarterback this year that's like ready to play. But I mean, besides that whole thing, I think we just need to fill in some of those spots on the defense. I think like the media's perspective of our offensive line is overblown. Like it's like the worst. Like this isn't the offensive line it was 2 years ago. We just need a quarterback that can play football. We saw Drew Lock look like prime Peyton Manning behind that line, so they obviously weren't that bad. But I think we really need to come out of this offseason. If we do get a guy like Aaron Rodgers and we're saying like we want to go for a wild card spot or try to compete, we're going to absolutely have to fill in some of those spots with players that can actually play in this defense that we have, because we have players that are playing out of scheme fit.
Yeah, that came with the Bobby Okereke rumors just a few short days ago, which obviously boggled the minds of Giant fans. We could slightly get into that at some point, but I want to give first thoughts to KB.
Well, just piggybacking off of what you said about Bobby Okereke, I guess we all know that Micah McFadden is the number 1 linebacker on the Giants roster right now. Not just playing, but like Drew was saying, this whole offseason has been about quarterbacks. Like it even happened to me. I found myself kind of focusing on quarterback that I barely went through the free agent list of like cornerback and other offensive linemen and safety or wide receiver. I barely looked at it this whole offseason. My content has been focused on the quarterback because again, like Drew said, we've been kind of connected to every quarterback possible. Russell Wilson, who we've been connected to for 4 years, every time that he's quote unquote available. You had talks about obviously trading up for Cam Ward, and that's been the big conversation after the combine. So initial thoughts of this offseason obviously is just a quarterback. Get me a quarterback. And if the Giants, I really think the Giants would would be failing here if they don't get out of this draft with at least a quarterback in the draft. I'm not very high on a Jackson Dart in the second round, but like, damn, if you miss out on the two quarterback, like if you miss out on a quarterback in the first, I mean, you got to do something, give us some sort of hope for the future, because the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, like Diggy said, I'm not the biggest Aaron Rodgers guy at this point of the season. I know he had at this point of his career, I know he had like just under 4,000 yards passing, but I just don't think he has much left in the tank. He's 41 years old, and it would be bad if the Giants don't get a quarterback and they have Aaron Rodgers here. Like there's no point of looking into the future. You're kind of just putting this season on fast forward and hoping you get through 2026 in one piece. So yeah, that's just been the main topic is quarterback. Get me Cam Ward, baby. Come on.
Yeah. What's up to Steve in the chat? Nimmer, obviously, Jacob from earlier, Brad, Armand, everyone else who comes in, hit the like button, comment, subscribe. Again, subscribe to these great content creators. Follow their social media, preferably the X account. So, jumping into a general subject before we break down piece by piece by piece. I'm gonna take a guess that that you guys agree with me in this central point. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. The question I'm gonna dictate to you guys in the chat as well is: do you think the Giants should be now? Obviously, I'll preface this with more of an explanation. Do you think the Giants should be big spenders this offseason? Now, that doesn't mean, completely waste the cap. Like, obviously, they could use some cap to fill some needs, backup quarterback, corner, defensive line, whatever. But I'm talking restructuring contracts, the cap that they have, and then also, going into next year's cap. Should they be big spenders like that, or just use the cap they have for this year? I'll start with Drew, and then I'll make my way around.
Yeah, so to me, they got to be moderate spenders, I think, is a reasonable way of doing it. You can't not spend any money because there's too many big, obvious holes. A couple of guys mentioned already, obviously, cornerback. We need a number one corner. There's a couple of decent ones available that may not be elite, but they're a whole lot better than what we got now, that's for sure. We definitely need to try to do something to beef up that defensive line. I'm not saying you go to get a Jonathan Allen or anything crazy like that, but you need to get legit veteran players that can play the ball, not just guys that are like seventh round picks you're hoping pan out like we did this year. We called that out before the season even started. We said the defense is going to be better, I think, than people thought. But we said the two big issues we had is you're counting on Banks to be CB1 when he's not ready, point blank, and he wasn't. He proved that pretty time and time again, I think, overall during the season. And you're counting on Dexter Lawrence to be able to handle the defensive line responsibilities basically by himself. Nacho was probably our second best defensive lineman. He's been a disappointment. Great guy. I've had the chance to meet him before. Absolute great down-to-earth guy. Like, I wish it had worked out better for him here, but he's probably going to get cut. He's probably not going to be on the team, let's be honest, next year. You got to fill some of those spots. You got to have to bring at least one more offensive lineman in, whether it's signing Greg Van Roten again or it's going out and trying to, get somebody else to fill that right guard position. I'd like Van Roten to be here because I think he also provides good backup in case we need a center, since JMS has not been exactly the best player. But you can't go out and spend tons and tons of money and mortgage the future when right now you're trying to build to a future. We don't have a future right now, let's be honest. Does anybody actually see us making the playoffs next year or two?
No.
So why would you mortgage the future if you're not going to get there? You're going to have to go get young players, develop them. And the one thing I'm trying to be positive about right now, because it's so hard to be positive as a Giants fan, let's be honest right now. Like, I swear, like, all our podcasts need to start being sponsored by BetterHelp. It's that bad right now. It's like,
I thought the same thing.
It's brutal.
But it's like,
I actually did reach out to them too. I'm not kidding. I was like, listen, have I the channel for you? But, right now you're looking at a scenario where free agency and trades have been somewhat of an issue with Joe Shane. This last draft class is the one thing that got me going, okay, if he can do that again, maybe get a couple pieces and build this up. But if you're expecting this man to go into some kind of crazy, rampage, go get like Jack Rabbit and, Snacks Harrison, do a repeat of what we did a few years ago, towards the end, of previous regimes there. It's just not going to work. But the pieces aren't there.
Yeah, all well said. What's up to Vinny in the chat? He's a Jets fan, a big friend of my brother's, but he's been on the channel multiple times. He says, "What's up, Smurfs fans? Are you ready for the Aaron Rodgers experience?" We will definitely get into that at some point because I definitely need to redisplay my thoughts. Greg, what's up? Brad says, "Brian Burns was a real good trade in the end. I thought the Giants content creators would be sponsored by Hangman. Yeah, we might need that as well." And what's up to Raziel and anyone else I'm missing in the chat? But make sure, again, folks, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, do all the good stuff. Diggy, do you agree with me and Drew that the Giants shouldn't be mortgaging their future and future cap space because the Giants are expected to have a lot of caps? And you know what? I'll say this as well. What's up to Raf in the chat? I hate this narrative that's put out by like the more positive fans. Oh, the Giants have $146 million in cap space next year. Yeah, do you know that the Giants have only 35 players under contract? So let's slow it down. They'll have some cap. Let's slow it down a little bit. Diggy, what do you think?
I mean, I'm pretty much in the same area as you both. I disagree. I think there is a path to this team making the playoffs next year if they were to go bonkers in free agency, but it wouldn't be good after that. It would be basically the exact same thing because, I mean, let's say Aaron Rodgers has one more year, you draft Travis Hunter, you get Malik Neighbors, you sign a bunch of guys in free agency that are only going to be good for 1 year and then give up after Aaron Rodgers retires. So, I mean, I could see that happening, but I wouldn't want that. I want sustained success, and I know we all want sustained success finally. But we have to get a cornerback, a starting cornerback. We have to get at least a defensive tackle that we feel solid can play in a rotation because I think that defensive tackle class is solid in the draft class. But we do have to come out of this free agency at least with a guy that we feel like can at least start. I think we need help at linebacker because we can talk about this later and you can stop me if you want. And it's not, I see KB shaking his head. It's not Micah McFadden at all. I really feel like Bobby Okereke is not a good player in this defense. I think he's great at getting the ball out and forcing fumbles, but he's just not good in this defense. It's not the right defense for him. And we need someone that can step in because, first off, those are the only two solid linebackers that we have. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of holes that we have to fill. I'm someone who I'm ready to give up on Tyler Nubin. He's like a fan favorite.
Thank you.
And I just don't understand it because when I watch him on tape, he was supposed to be this veteran safety that's so old coming out of college that he doesn't make mistakes and is always in the right spot. And he was consistently in the wrong spot. And people want to talk about Deonte Banks being a bad player. But Deonte Banks looked stupid about 5 or 6 times last year because he was trying to cover for Tyler Nubin. And like we're just penciling him in as this was a 2nd-round pick. I sometimes think about this guy like the standard that we hold Tyler Nubin to is that of like a 5th-round pick. Like, oh yeah, he showed some promise. He came up and made some tackles. Like we need players in the secondary. We need players all over the field. And some of that is going to have to come through free agency just to be able to compete.
Now, before I go to KB, I just want to read some comments. Thanks to Nick DeWick for the $4.99 super chat. Give me Cam Ward. Hope all is well with everyone. Raziel says that Mara is a clown. The Giants pick up Rodgers boycott time. The front office doing it solely to save their jobs. Duran says, not sure why the DC was not let go. It seems everyone regressed, especially after Mara. I mean, I don't think the defense was the worst part of the team last year. But, I mean, Mara said he didn't like the defense, and virtually no changes were made other than a few DB coaches and assistants. Drew, I want to ask you something because I saw your reaction. And what's up to Jessica Smith? Were you agreeing with Diggy about excuse me, I apologize. Do you disagree or agree with Ziggy's point about Tyler Nubin?
He's a rookie. I gotta give him a little time. I'm not gonna give up on a rookie like that. Do I think he had an okay rookie year? That's probably, I think, okay to say he's an okay rookie year. Was it great? No. But we got to give it a chance to see what happens there over time. Players are going to develop. And I got to say, too, the defense, I still swear, I don't understand the hate for this defensive coordinator, the defense overall. I mean, literally every single person got injured basically on that defense. We were leading the league in sacks at certain points. Go look at the scores of the games and ask me if the offense, the defense was the problem. Before the injuries, obviously.
This is the worst possible team to be on if you're a defensive coordinator, because you face obstacles that nobody else in the league faces as defensive coordinator. Like, your team is like legitimately expected to go out and score 13, 12, 10, 9, 14 points a game. And if your defense goes out there and holds the other team to less than 15 points, 3.5 quarters
Still
in the
losing
game, and they give up a touchdown at the end of that game against like a good offense, all of a sudden the defense is the problem. Brian Dable is still an offensive guru, and we lose the game because we couldn't score 20 points again. Just go back. That's a perfect point. I'm sorry to cut you off because
No,
that's
you're good. You're good. I'm
just
loving it. You
made.
agree with me, so we're good.
Like, this is the perfect point that he just made, because go back and just say, if the Giants score 23 points every single game, go back and look what the record is. I don't know what it would be, but I feel like it would be a lot better.
You know what the example I always use is the Bengals game specifically. So the Bengals had
Yes.
obviously like the best offense almost in the league. Let's be honest. Like it wasn't a great
the
record.
worst defense.
But yeah, exactly. One of the worst defenses. We only gave up 17 points to the Bengals, but we can only score 7. Is that the defense's fault to keep one of the best offenses in the league down to 17 points because the offense can only score 1 touchdown against one of the worst defenses? And I feel like that was like a classic like sign of everything that was going on with this team this year. I mean, there's a couple of teams that scored a decent amount of points, like the Bucs scored 30 on us. The Bucs were a really good offense this year as well. And it's not like they scored 50 or something crazy. Is it a good game for the defense? No, I'm not trying to make that excuse. But I'm saying there wasn't like I can go, okay, they let this one team that was horrible go off for 40 points or something crazy. You know what I mean? Most of the season, I felt like I'm looking at the games going, God damn, we just, went ahead and scored just a couple of touchdowns here. We win this.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, look at the Falcons game. The offense gave up as many points to the defense.
Let's not forget that the first half of the season, the Giants were on pace to breaking like the team sack record until everybody started getting hurt and we started getting blown out in games because the defense were trying a lot harder than they should have because the offense couldn't do anything. So,
yeah, I'm telling you, we get one corner, I think, a legit corner. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a top flight, just one of the better ones that are available in free agency. And then you go ahead and get yourself some help in that defensive line. I'm telling you right now, guys, this is a top 10 defense, I think. I really do think that.
Yeah, a couple of good points made there. I mean, personally, I'll admit it. I have admitted it before. I'm a Wink guy. I always will be. I wasn't a fan of bringing Bowen in, but I will say this. I think there are hedges within the criticism of Shane Bowen where you could actually blame Joe Shane and Brian Dable, because you have players that they picked from the past scheme. Example, Bobby Okereke, Deontay Banks, Kayvon Thibodeau, and that's just my personal opinion. I don't know if anyone else agrees, for a number of reasons. Those players did not succeed in this scheme. Banks had his worst year out of the two. Okereke wasn't as flashy. And, you could say, well, Kayvon got injured. I don't think he was, as productive. I mean, obviously 11.5 sacks or 11 sacks, whatever he had the prior year, you could make your intricacies or whatever, but I just don't think he succeeded as well. Let's see. Evan, what's up? He says the defense was bad because Bowen's system didn't adjust the personnel we have. I think that I will say, for a guy that I didn't like the first 2 years, I don't think Cordell Flott looked bad. I think he looked pretty decent in his role. But yeah, the offense just has to be.
But also, let's look at the personnel. Like, let's look at the personnel. Like, was the personnel that good that, like,
Art Green?
Yeah, I mean, we got Art Green out there playing. I mean, there were a ton of injuries.
Yep.
Like I said, my biggest problem is that I feel like Shane Bowen could have gotten more out of Bobby Okereke. If he could have gotten more, if he could have gotten the Bobby Okereke that we got last year, I think that defense looks even better. But as we know, I mean, the problem with this team has always been offense. It's been offense for like almost 12 years now. So, I mean, and until we fix the offense, we're not going to be good. I'm going to say this, defense in a season.
On Okereke, I know we gave a lot of crud to Banks for it. There was a lot of effort plays I saw just not there for Okereke. Like, there was definitely some business decisions he made this year And I wasn't very happy with that at all. And I got to wonder if that's part of the decision-making process when you hear the rumors about Okereke possibly not being on the team next year. Because you watch that tape, I'm telling you, you'll see it, where he was clearly making business decisions. And we're going to save about $11 million if we cut him. That's a good chunk of change, guys. You got to remember
I would like to try to trade him first. But
I'm there with you at that point. Listen, if you can get an asset, go for it. I mean, hell, maybe include him with the Titans trade. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe give me a good 4th or 5th for him, man.
How do you all feel about the Darius Slayton and Azeez Ojulari not being traded?
We got to bring you back, Diggy. We got to bring. Oh man, I think Darius Slayton is gone. I don't think he's gonna stay here. I think he would want to play. I think he's got love for the city. He definitely does. You could see it every time. Like he used to go toe to toe with anybody for Daniel Jones. He did the same thing for the Giants in general. But I just don't think he's coming back. He's gonna want to go to a contender. He don't want to be a part of another rebuild. Or whatever you call what we're doing right now. But yeah, retooling, win today, build for tomorrow, whatever the hell Joe Shane said. But I don't think Darius Slayton's coming back. Who was the other name you said?
Azeez.
Oh, Azeez. I would love to bring Azeez Ojulari back. And my only thing is that where's his price line at? Because when he's on the field, he's one of the more productive edge rushers like in the NFL, like statistically when he's on the field. It's insane, but he's just never on the field. So it's like, how much, obviously you're not going to give him a lot of guaranteed money, but what would his, contract look like? I would he take a 1-year deal? What's out there for him? I don't know. I wouldn't get into a bidding war for Azeez Ojulari, but I'd like to keep him around because he's too good of a rotational player for us to just give up on.
Yeah, I like it for passing situations, but honestly, I think that it's not talked about enough how bad he is against the run. We took a big issue with outside runs the second Kayvon went down. As much as Kayvon gets crud for not getting the sacks this year, there was a big change in the run defense when he was out compared to when Ojulari was in there.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there, and I think Kayvon is definitely a better run defender than Azeez. But I think our biggest issue in the run game was the corners. I've never seen corners play the run as bad as I saw them play the run.
We
don't
this year. Have corners. Yeah, we don't have corners
like
just
years of Adoree Jackson. Of course, can he bad? Look at him.
Exactly. Deonte Banks, he used to be an asset against the run his rookie year, and this year he was horrible. Cordell Flott, he tried, but he's Cordell Flott. He's like 160. So it just wasn't working out on the edge. And Adoree, like you just said, every single edge play, Adoree Jackson is jumping into the inside every single time. And even beyond the defensive line, the corners allow most of those huge runs. And like this in a league where we say like, okay, the corner just has to just make the tackle when he's there. Like, I did not realize that these corners can legitimately wreck your entire run defense because the linebackers are not on the edges in this defense. It's all up to these corners and these slot corners and these edge players to stop that completely. And if they get past the defensive line, there's nobody there but the corners.
You want to know who we miss right now? One, we miss Xavier McKinney. He was fantastic in the box and stopping the run and getting to those ball carriers, bouncing to the outside. You want to know who we also miss? Darnay Holmes. Darnay Holmes might be one of the best cornerbacks we had versus the run that in a long time. I've never seen a cornerback play the run so well and suck against the pass. Like, dude should have just switched to safety or something like that.
Darnay Holmes was literally a linebacker. Like, he should have just gone through.
That man could play the run, but he couldn't do jack squat versus.
But Drew Phillips looked good in the slot.
He did. He shut me up. He shut me up. I was the guy on this play. I have a weird love-hate relationship with Drew Phillips because my first mock draft I made last year, I had the Giants drafting Drew Phillips in the 5th round. And I was like, one big caveat to this guy. Dude can't tackle for shit. I mean, because he has like a missed tackle rate of almost a 1/4 of his tackles were missed tackles, like almost 25%. I forgot what the exact number is, but it was absolutely insane. And dude would just come up on tackles, wouldn't be confident on tackles. He comes into the NFL and he's like the best tackler on defense. I'm like, damn, this man worked on his game. He shut me up. So I love to be wrong when it comes to that. So
I give Jerome Henderson a lot of credit for the work he put in with Drew
Yeah.
Phillips, because I also thought, watching a lot of his tape, because to be honest, we didn't have him on our show either in that third round range. We had him like you have.
I had him in the fifth
maybe
round.
a
Then he
late,
started
late
rising
fourth,
up
early
boards.
fifth. Yeah.
It was that Senior Bowl. He did well in the Senior Bowl on pass defense. Yeah.
But I thought, watching the tape, I thought there was definitely some issue with some of his motions, especially his hip validity at certain points there. And I think Jerome Henderson did a hell of a job with them. And I'm really still ticked off that Jerome Henderson's not going to be on the squad going forward.
That's crazy.
That was a huge mistake because of Banks. I cut Banks before I cut Jerome Henderson.
Scapegoat. You got scapegoated.
That's just the weirdest scapegoat to go to. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's weird. It's like,
yeah, I was gonna say the thing with Drew Phillips is like I had the same issues as far as like his hips. I don't think he's a man corner at all. If we go to a defensive coordinator that plays man defense, that plays press man, Drew Phillips is gonna look bad, and people are gonna say, "Oh, you ruined Drew." He's like the only scheme fit we have in the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I like to Drew and KB. I actually did have Drew Phillips in my ideal mocks offseason draft, and I had him in the 6th round. So in the general range, but I ended up being somewhat right.
It's crazy how a guy can just rise up boards, man. It's
and I've seen redrafts now. He's in the 1st round with the redraft, so they do like the hindsight of having the rookie season there, and it's crazy to think that we actually got somebody in the 3rd round that many of us thought day 3 pick, and now in the redrafts he's actually a 1st round pick because he played so well. He's
got to work on playing the ball better though. I mean, I think he had like 1 pass defense all year, and he's catching up to guys that are catching the ball on him and making good tackles, but he's got to play that ball better.
Yeah.
And I hate to contradict myself because I just said that Jerome Henderson was a scapegoat, but if there's anything that you can say is that there's been a consistent issue with young cornerbacks and even vet cornerbacks playing the football with Jerome Henderson here. They're always exactly on the receivers.
We don't get picks.
But there's just an issue. And I felt so bad for Deonte Banks. I really feel like he's going to bounce back because at the beginning of the year, he was like on white on race against Justin Jefferson. And like he's getting beat for touchdowns. His hand is here and the ball is here. Like Sam Darnold was throwing ridiculously accurate passes, and Deonte Banks was getting like flamed by Giants fans when he was like at the beginning, he was playing really great football. He just was playing against elite quarterback play, and then it just kind of all fell apart.
Was it week 3? It was a week 3 or week 4 against the Browns though, when Amari Cooper had half his yards for the season against us, basically.
Yeah, Amari Cooper. Oh my god,
like horrible season, but he looked like an all-pro against Banks.
Yeah,
that was. You were saying.
And one thing as well, you mentioned Slayton as well. I want to real quick with Slayton. I say it every single time I get the chance to talk about Slayton. Slayton is the most underrated player on the Giants roster over the last few years. I swear to you guys, he is. First off, one of the biggest issues this team has is we keep taking guys out who are leaders in the locker room. Slayton is as good a leader in the locker room as you get. Then you throw up the fact that the guy consistently gets like 700 yards receiving a season at that point there. And I grant it, sometimes because there's nobody else to throw the damn ball to. I get that part of it. But he's a legitimate NFL receiver that is a true leader in the locker room. And here's another scary idea for you guys. If he plays one more year, he very well could be top 10 in all-time Giants receiving yards. If he plays one more season. He's sitting there right now at, I got it in front of me. Right now he's number 18 at 3,897 yards. So let's say if he gets 700 yards, hypothetically, puts him at 4,600. That puts him right in between Ike Hilliard and Victor Cruz.
That's crazy.
People underrate. Like, he's got almost better statistics than a guy like Sterling Shepard, who fans love.
I love Sterling. Oh my god.
See, but I say, like, where's the love for another guy who's dealt with? The guy said Daniel Jones throwing with the damn ball his whole career.
Oh yeah,
much.
I'm not gonna give him that excuse because he talks about Daniel Jones like he's
as he should. That's his quarterback.
that man went to war for him.
Like I said, I'm not giving him that excuse.
What do you want him to do? Go to the press? Oh, I'm sorry, our quarterback sucks. He should be out of the NFL.
No, he will be looking for smoke on Twitter. On Twitter, he's looking for smoke.
kind of tell like he's not just defending him because he's his quarterback. He's defending him because he's like his best friend. But
yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
came in the
it's
same
funny.
draft class.
Yeah.
But my quick question to KB, and I'll go back to him for a question revolving around the secondary: should the Giants be big spenders going into next year's
yeah.
cap or not?
I forgot that. I forgot that.
It's
My
off
bad. My
topic,
bad.
Mark.
You're good.
Yeah, we got off topic, but yeah, I'm like what the other two just said. I'm gonna want the Giants to spend moderately, not like not be big spenders. We don't want 2016 again. Like Diggy was saying, you spend all this money, you make a playoff run for 1 year, and then what do you have after that? You've got nothing. The Giants need to focus. You should spend big money on certain positions. Cornerback, I don't like the check. However many zeros you want, give me a number one corner, because when it comes to Deonte Banks, I'm with you, Diggy, on that. Like, I think Deonte Banks will bounce back eventually, but I don't want our defense to kind of rely on him bouncing back. I want somebody that he can lean off of and not have to be the guy picked on over and over and over again. Deonte Banks played well being like a number 2 corner back when he was a rookie. Put him back there, let him get his confidence back, and go from there. If we get a guy like DJ Reed, man, as our number 1 corner, I would be comfortable with that. So I'll be willing to spend big money on that, as well as, guards are going for a lot of money now. I'm not trying to spend that much on a guard, but get yourself a decent guard. I hear Will Freeze is like the top guy that everybody wants for the Giants. I don't know if I want another Colts offensive lineman after what happened to Mark Lewinsky, but spend money on positions that need to be heavily addressed. I don't know how I feel about safety right now. Haven't even looked at who are the top free agents. I know Javon Holland is out there, but we need safety help badly. We don't have a center fielder. We just don't. Dane Belton and Tyler Newman are not center field guys. They're not guys you throw back there on a cover 3 and let them roam around. They're just not that. I know Dane Belton likes to be
Belton, a pick magnet.
Everybody calls him a ball hawk. He just happens to be there at the right. Dude is like, oh my god, the ball. He just happens to be there. Yep. So I'm not a big Dane Belton guy still to this day, but we need a guy because we don't know what's going on with Jason Pinnock. I think odds are he stays. I don't know if there's a big market for him. I think he just comes back to the Giants, but I would like to get a true center fielder, man. We don't have one of those at all. We only got like box safeties. So those are positions I would like to spend a decent amount on. Everything else, let's just fill in holes here and there. No need to spend all of your cap right away. There's just no point in it, especially if you're trying to rebuild, develop a quarterback. You don't need to put all your chips in all your eggs in one basket in the first year of that.
Yeah, definitely. What's up? This is a Giant topic, and Bookend says, remember, he was a 5th round pick. We made a wide receiver 1 for many years because we had nothing else, but he outplayed his draft value by far.
Yeah.
I will admit that about Darius Slayton. I
love Slayton, man.
KB was talking about the next thing, Jason Pinnock. I'm going to ask this question. I'll go back to KB on this one, but I also want to read out the safety market because I'm going to be honest with you in terms of the position that we need, which under Spot Track he is. I think he's a free safety. It's pretty trash. The market's pretty trash.
Yeah.
I'll read that right now. So Justin Simmons, who had about an average to below average year last year, and he's 31. Javon Holland, who's going to break the bank. Yeah. Maybe. But he's going to get paid, definitely. Jordan Poyer, who's 33. Eric Murray, who I have the Giants signing in my mock offseason. He's 31. He played with the Chiefs, the Browns, and Houston for the past 4 years. Rodney McLeod, the former Eagle, absolutely not. 35. Damn, the youngest 35? One, Andre Cisco.
Wait, I'm sorry. Rodney McLeod is still in the league?
Yes. Eagle legend, Rodney McLeod.
He last played with Cleveland, agent. Looks like.
Yeah. Andre Cisco, who's the youngest. A lot of people like him because he plays center field. To Sean Gibson, he's another older vet. Here's a guy that I
honestly could tell you that I really did not know that these 2 players that I was playing with in like Madden 15 are still in football. And like Madden 12, they were in Madden 12. Like, why are they still in the league? And I bet one of the, like it's like when we signed Antoine Bethea, I bet one of them will come here.
Antoine Bethea.
Well, maybe if we sign Aaron Rodgers, we'll get Madden 15 or Madden 14 back. They'll create the entire franchise through that. Obviously mentioned Jason Pinnock. Not a big fan of Tony Adams. He's a restricted rights free agent, but he's not very good. And the one guy who also could break the bank is not Byron Murphy, not that Vikings DB, but Cameron Bynum. So that's the free agent list for replacements for Jason Pinnock. KB, do you think the Giants should re-sign him? Do you think the Giants will re-sign him?
I mean, looking at what we've got right now, I think you should try to re-sign him. It doesn't. I don't know if where he looks like in the market right now as far as his market value goes. But I'm looking down this list and just a bunch of old people, a bunch of grandpas in the safety for free agents right now. Otherwise, guys that you would spend big money on, like. I don't know. Maybe Xavier Woods. I don't know. He's about to be 30. I don't know how much money he'd be asking. He last made $5 million a year. That's not too bad. But yeah, maybe on Andre Cisco if they want to get younger and try to keep a safety for a while. I don't really see many options besides that. I would try to keep around Jason Pinnock or I really haven't looked at safeties as far as like mid to late round safeties that much in the draft. So, I mean, your options are looking thin. He might be a priority guy to bring back.
Definitely don't want to put we have to re-sign Jason Pinnock.
Yeah.
But yeah, I personally, I think they're going to get. My projection is Eric Murray because I think he's going to be cheaper, and I think he's going to bring that quote unquote veteran leadership to the secondary. But Digge, do you think the Giants will re-sign Pinnock? Do you think they should?
Yeah, I'm just looking. Rodney McLeod was playing in 2012. I was joking. He was really playing in 2012. Like, we have to sign Jason Pinnock back. I mean, this is a joke.
Priority.
We have to bring him back. He's solid. And I mean, honestly, I'll say my biggest, I really got it wrong. Like, I'll admit I got it wrong with, saying that we could just let Xavier McKinney walk because safety is easily replaceable because the Giants did it for, a decade and a half straight, with just getting safeties back to back to back. But Xavier McKinney, he didn't make himself, but we made him a lesser value player because we moved him from being that center fielder he was. And what was it? We've had all these defensive guys.
Patrick Graham. Wing.
So in Patrick Graham's defense, he was playing center fielder, a lot of center fielder, and he looked amazing.
Yeah.
And then we just took that away and just made him play
in the box.
everywhere, which he did fine. He did great. But as a center fielder, you just saw what he is. He's ridiculous at center field. And he would have been perfect in this defense. And as we're moving to this defense, Joe Shane decides to just say, we don't need a center field. I'm sure that is circled on our defensive coordinator's on his board for what he wanted. And we just couldn't make that happen. And I think even more than the Saquon thing, which I still agree was the right move to not pay him, even though I think we should have traded him to the Buffalo Bills or something. But not getting Xavier McKinney back is painful. And I mean, Pinnock is a solid safety. He's not going to make any wild plays, but he's a solid safety. And I think what's on the market are other solid safeties. So we might as well get him to try to take a hometown discount and hope we can develop somebody in the draft.
Yeah, definitely. Before I go to Drew, what's up to ABS, aka ASN, excuse me. But anyway, what's up to Pat? I definitely all salient points there. I think actually, now that I think about it, we were talking about center field safety, and I going back to the sentiment earlier, not going to restart that debate. I do agree with the sentiment about Tyler Nubin. I think I'm obviously going to give Tyler Nubin a second year because why wouldn't we? But I think he was just vastly overhyped by the fans, and I think he was just vastly overhyped because of what he was. Because he got 6 interceptions his last year in Minnesota. He was this ball hawk and everything like that. And then we ended up getting 2 picks on defense. So I'm not saying that's all his fault, but I think there's a reason why I am a huge proponent of a certain player in free agency, which I will bring up when we talk about free agency in a larger light. But we need to start actually getting interceptions again. Drew, do you think the Giants should and will they re-sign Jason Pinnock?
I mean, I definitely think they should. I don't think the market's going to be that crazy where you can't get them at a decent price, and that's the thing. As you guys mentioned, it's not exactly a great, market for safeties overall. Holland's going to get way overpaid, and I don't be honest, I don't think he's been the same since the injury. He's not a guy that I'd be interested personally. If you want to try to get somebody at a discount because of injuries, you got Hufanga out of San Francisco, maybe. But again, you got a guy that's had some injury issues. You want to get another injured player there in the Giants uniform. We got plenty of those already at that point. That's one position we have filled well is injured reserve. So I don't think we need to add more out of that pile there. But like you said, we need a ball hawk. There's not a lot of ball hawks out there. That's the thing. Like this free agency, we look at it, it's not really guys that are getting consistent interceptions there. You mentioned New, but I mean, I think it almost comes to the point where you got to go, okay, who can I best fit to fill the role for the second safety position? And then can I try to convert Newman into a center fielder like he did, like you mentioned in college that last year? Because you look at what he did with the NFL that first season. Yeah, he didn't get interceptions, but no one got interceptions. So at that point, can you say it's a player issue or a scheme?
It's definitely.
If I gotta see that his slow ass at center field, I'm gonna lose my. I'm gonna lose.
That's bombs away. Hey, listen, put on the game
smart.
of the Buccaneers.
He's super smart. I think that's what made him his draft profile in college. He's super smart, very instinctual. But my God, he slows molasses, man.
He's not smart. I'm sorry. He's not.
You don't think it? Well, okay, yeah. His rookie year, I think he was
smart.
just fake news. He's not smart. I feel like in
he
Minnesota,
doesn't know what's going on back there. And
I was so shocked. I was so shocked at like how many times he was able to put himself in the right positions back in Minnesota where I'm like, okay, I can see how this could be a good pick. But my reaction when we drafted when they drafted Tyler Nubin, I was like, God, I'll be honest, I don't like this pick. I just don't like this pick. I feel like he's not what the Giants need right now. And this is we're just getting another like glorified linebacker pretty much. That's how I feel about it. A guy that can read the field very well, but is not going to be a guy to pick off a deep ball downfield. He's going to get blown away. So I'm willing to give Tyler Nubin another chance just because of what he did in Minnesota and how he was able to be that ball hawk and use his wits to his advantage. But after his rookie year, man, it's like, damn, what do you do for me? I don't know. What do you do? So I don't know. We'll see what happens with Tyler Nubin. Yeah,
definitely. Moving to before we get to non-quarterback free agents, let's talk about veteran quarterbacks and free agency. First of all, since we elaborated on this earlier, I think Digge was one of the first ones. Here's my reintegrated stance on Aaron Rodgers. No, I don't want him. I saw last year, the last 2 years, what has happened with the Jets, right? Obviously, he gets injured, and then he was teasing Jet fans into thinking that he was going to come back from the Achilles injury on the Pat McAfee show towards the end of the season.
I remember that. Yeah,
and then people were like, "Oh, maybe he can come back. Maybe he can come back." No, he didn't come back. Then the next year, in a long story short, he gets the head coach and the GM fired. He makes the owner trade for his best buddy. Nathaniel Hackett stays, and they win 2 less games. So, I've seen Giant fans again. I don't know how the panel feels. I actually don't know how Drew feels. I know how Digge feels. Obviously, I know how KB feels. I just like how people are like very fast buying into this idea of Aaron Rodgers, and like people could say, "Oh, it's only for 1 year," and this, and I get it. Like, again, a lot of it is the off the field nonsense because he is such a powerful, and I don't mean in a good way, powerful personality, to where like Garrett Wilson almost requested a trade from the Jets because he was not getting targets, and that's screwed because he was a top 10 pick in 2022. He was, think of it this way, right? You're catching footballs from Tim Boyle, Trevor Siemian, and Zach Wilson, and then you're not getting targeted by a former MVP quarterback, and you want to request a trade out. So think of a shitty situation like that. Yeah. But nonetheless, that's my stance on Aaron Rodgers. I don't want him here, personally. I think it's going to be for himself. I don't know how much money he wants. And I think he wants to stand up the Jets and say, hey, listen, I'm playing in the same building as you, and we're going to have a better record than you. But again, and also let me put this in there. Try telling him that you're going to bench him for a rookie quarterback and see how that blows over.
That is my biggest gripe. I don't know if he is going to be good for another young quarterback to bring. Think if they bring in Cam Ward, where Cam Ward has some leadership qualities. You bring in Aaron Rodgers over there. I mean, it's just gonna poison him. Just his mentality, stuff like that. I know Zach Wilson, I guess, appreciated Aaron Rodgers when he was over there, but what did he really learn at the end of the day? I don't know. I don't know what Zach Wilson really learned from Aaron Rodgers at the end of the day. I don't think a young quarterback is going to be good around Aaron Rodgers at all. If anything, I would want Russell Wilson to kind of groom up the next quarterback, to kind of be that mentor for him.
Yeah. Foxy says they will be scared to bench him for the rookie. And here's the thing before I go to everybody else's. I don't really believe that Joe Shane, for a lack of a better word, it's going to be blunt here, but that's the way I am. I don't think he's going to put his balls on the table and actually like set up the restrictions for Aaron Rodgers. I don't think I feel like, yes, Joe Shane is desperate for his job, but I don't think that's going to make him motivated to actually have a spine. So that's just my personal opinion. Drew, who are your ideal veteran quarterbacks to bring in?
Well, first off, before we get to that, I just got to say there is one very important thing that Zach Wilson did learn from Aaron Rodgers. And that's how to talk to 40-year-olds, which really helped him in his dating life. I was going to say, it just really helped him with that cougar crowd. And Aaron Rodgers does have one quality that I think is absolutely something the Giants need, and it's the ability to get a coach and a GM fired. Like, I think that's his best asset he has right now for the Giants.
Maybe Giants fans want him then for that reason.
Like, seriously. But no, in all fairness, if I had to pick a guy right now of one of the quote-unquote veteran guys that's going to be available, I want Justin Fields. That's my guy. And that's kind of sad to a certain degree. I got to say that up front. But it's like, again, you're not going to have an excellent quarterback becoming available. Like, that happens very, very rarely. But you got a guy who, let's be honest, does any of us really trust Chicago's ability to develop a quarterback?
No.
And Justin Fields didn't look bad when he started the season with the Steelers. You could make the case they probably should have benched Russell Wilson and put Fields back in towards the end of the season when they lost 5 games in a row. You could easily make that case. Now, what I'm hearing right now, because I've been trying to listen a lot what's going on in Pittsburgh, because I've said all along all offseason we'll probably get whichever one they don't take. There's a lot of distrust, apparently, what I'm hearing between Fields and Mike Tomlin, because he feels like he was given a raw deal is what I'm hearing, and he should have stayed the starter, and they should have kept Russell Wilson on the bench as opposed to putting Wilson back in when he got healthy. So if that's the case, that might help in our favor. That would definitely be ideal. But honestly, I would say Fields number 1, Cousins number 2 if he becomes traded or cut at that point, because I think he actually would be a good mentor. Not that he's a great quarterback. Let's be honest. He looked good in Minnesota because he was throwing the ball to some good receivers there. I think that's a lot of that. But he'd be a good mentor, I think, and a good person in the locker room overall. And then, honestly, I hate to say it, but if you can't get those guys, maybe you go 1 year in Rodgers, because he may not be the guy you want in the long term, but he's not someone for the long term. I just don't want to have to force a rookie quarterback out there. That's my biggest thing. I feel like you ruin them by throwing them out there way too quick, especially with the issues we've had with the offense as a whole. You want to throw a rookie quarterback out there? That's a recipe for disaster right now. You got to get that offense rolling and then say, okay, I got this thing started for you. Go take it from here. And you have to have that conversation with Rodgers up front. Tell him point blank, like, you're not guaranteed anything. We do not guarantee that you'll be the starter the whole year. We're not going to guarantee that. We're drafting a guy, and we're drafting him for a reason. And you also have to put in his contract point blank, you can't go on the Pat McAfee show. Deal. That's part of it. And if you go to Cairo during mandatory camp or mandatory practices, you're gone. We're just going to cut you right then and there.
By that time, and this is a good thing, I trust me that he would have already left the.
you would have got up already.
He would have got up from his chair halfway through the conversation.
Fine.
Went right to the door. Good.
Where's he gonna go? That's part of it. I think Giants fans don't like. I feel like they don't recognize sometimes that part of it. Rodgers doesn't have a whole lot of opportunities.
That's why he contacted us.
He really doesn't.
You really got to be desperate if you are coming. You want us.
Yeah. No one's looking at this roster. You know what offense I want to command? That Giants offense. Let's go. But it's like, only thing I'm hearing besides us with Rodgers is they're saying, obviously, we get the whole dominoes started to fall with quarterbacks with the Geno Smith to the Raiders thing. Now they're saying that the Seahawks want to go ahead and get Darnold. And if that happens, the Vikings want to re-sign Daniel Jones. But the Colts are apparently going to be going hard for Daniel Jones, which I don't know why they would. If anything, the Colts should go hard for Drew Lock after what happened, but that's a whole separate thing. But they're supposed they're going to go hard after Daniel Jones as to be their backup and insurance policy, so to speak. If Richardson continues to do what he could do last year, but that's just an older version of Richardson, a mobile quarterback with no accuracy. But that's again a whole other issue. If that's the case, they're saying that's kind of like Plan C for the Vikings is to go for Aaron Rodgers. But that's a lot of like this has to happen, that has to happen for him to be even a possibility there and follow completely that Brett Favre, lineage there. But it's like, where else is he going to go? You have to have, and when you have a person like Rodgers, who's a very strong personality, let's be honest, kind of a jerk personality, sometimes you got to be a little bit of a jerk back and take that command right off the beginning and say, this is what's going to happen. Take it or leave it. And if he leaves it, fine. Then you know what you were getting. You didn't want him anyway.
Yeah. No, absolutely. He doesn't have a lot of options. I mean, I don't see him going to Seattle. I don't see him going to Tennessee. By the way, through the first round and hopefully maybe through the next two participants on this panel, I don't get it. I don't get that type of answer. Thank God nobody's brought up Sam Darnold because that's a no, and no.
Ginger Daniel Jones.
Yes, because he would totally be the same in Minnesota as he was here.
With a better arm, though.
Yeah. Is he bringing Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison with him?
Yeah.
And TJ Hawkinson, too.
And KOC, while we're at it, is the OC maybe. What the hell?
Yeah, right.
Why not? Bring it all over. But my ideal, before I go to Diggy, my ideal vet quarterbacks, Justin Fields, I had in my ideal mock off season, I said 1 year, $10 million. I think that's number one. Number two for me, and it's just a mix of different guys. Russell Wilson, I would definitely take. I don't know how much he wants, but I feel like there's still limited there. But I feel like people would want Wilson more than they would want Rodgers because, just of the two, and Wilson was a part of a playoff team. Marcus Mariota, and I know we're digging into the dirt of the options. Mariota is another guy. Carson Wentz.
Rudolph next.
Carson Wentz. What?
I mean,
that man hasn't been considered for a starting job 5 teams ago.
as I said, the dirt of the options because it's not a great market. But I know I just
at that point start the rookie.
Yeah,
might as well.
Start Tommy DeVito at that point. All right, I'll take TD Tommy.
Drew Lock's still available.
No Jimmy G, I will say. I'll
that's where you draw the line, Jimmy G, but you're okay with Carson Wentz. I think if you did a vote on people, and feel free in the comments, guys, would you take Jimmy G over Carson Wentz? I guarantee you every single person is going to say Jimmy G.
Oh, man. I would take Jameis Winston, though. I would say I would bring him.
I would take him in a heartbeat, honestly.
I love Jameis. He'll be such a headache. I mean, you don't know what you have until you have him. Listen, I'm in the Tampa area, okay? I was here for all the Jameis is 30 for 30, okay? Tampa fans did not give one single damn that he threw for 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. They all focused on the 30 interceptions because they were absolute headaches. He was the reason why they were losing games. He was the reason why they had to keep fighting back. I love Jameis. I think he's an awesome talent. He's got a future in television after he retires from football. I don't want him starting on my team.
Yeah, no, he's 100% right because I didn't realize till now that Kid Blue and I are apparently neighbors. Because I also live in the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah.
So, people were very glad to see him go.
Yes.
He disappeared. I swear they all had like a crab leg fest at all the restaurants and everything to celebrate his disappearance and all.
He's a very, very, very interesting cat.
Love
Diggy, who are your ideal veteran quarterbacks?
Yeah, I mean, Jameis Winston, he's not going to do that anymore. He got his LASIK eye surgery now, so that's all taken care of.
Was that after the season? Because he was still throwing a lot of picks this season.
I think it was after. Yeah.
He's going to have to get another one. He probably has to get some stuff cleaned up or something.
A fresh new cataract going.
Exactly. But I mean, Jameis Winston is probably up there for me. I will probably say Justin Fields will be the number one. I mean, it could be maybe, he's the kind of quarterback that Dable can work with. I mean, listen, we saw Dable with Josh Allen. Other than that, we haven't seen Dable do much of anything. So we're not going to say that he's a quarterback guru. But maybe Justin Fields can help us out. Russell Wilson is there. Jameis Winston, again, he's going to throw a bunch of picks. And he's been having like this offseason, he's been going everywhere saying that he's going to be a different quarterback and he's going to hold on to the football.
Okay.
It's fun to say that in the offseason and to preach about it, but I don't think that's going to happen. But it would be entertaining here. I mean, we would at least finally see some big plays. I think Jameis Winston is probably the Angel Reese of the NFL, of like how Angel Reese gets like 12 rebounds because like she got her own rebounds off of missed shots. He gets yards and touchdowns after he throws interceptions.
Yo, that is
so he
perfect.
has to bring his team back. It's like, so Jameis will be entertaining. I'd be open to Marcus Mariota. I'd be open to all these guys.
How about Carson Wentz? You open to Carson Wentz?
Oh no, he's thinking about
Carson Wentz is like, he's like a guy that like, I look at Carson Wentz as like a statue figure. I don't even look at him like a real person. I don't know. His career doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know.
He should not be as bad as he is. He should just not be as bad as he is. It makes no sense at all.
I'll take Ryan Fitzpatrick out of retirement before I take Carson Wentz.
Exactly. Ryan Fitzpatrick is the architect of Jameis Winston's career. So, yeah, I mean, I'd be open to a lot of these guys. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as we have a quarterback that we feel can play average level football, and I say average, I say like 21 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 21 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, average football with Daniel Jones is giving us $40 million. As long as they're able to do that, and, if we take a quarterback in the third round or the second round or the first round, and they can sit for 10 weeks or 8 weeks, I think we have the right quarterback. Now, Aaron Rodgers is absolutely nuts. The dude is crazy. Like, Aaron Rodgers, I just can't see it working here. I just can't see Aaron Rodgers being on any team where he doesn't have complete and utter control. And maybe he does that. And I really think if Aaron Rodgers got here and had Malik Neighbors and Travis Hunter and Wando Robinson and a run game, I think the Giants could be fun to watch. But everything else besides that would be awful. I just wouldn't want him here.
You're a Travis Hunter guy, aren't you? You've mentioned him a couple times.
I've
caught on to that.
I actually don't want Travis Hunter.
Okay.
And I think Travis Hunter is an amazing player. And I think, you could make the argument of like, if he fails at cornerback, just play him at receiver. If he fails at receiver, just play him at cornerback. But I'm just not a fan of him playing every single snap at like 170-something pounds. I don't know what the weight is going to say, but he's not a big person. So I just can't see him playing every single snap. And I think that's why he's ranked so high. That's why he's the best player in college football, is because he plays every single snap.
That's what I love that you brought that up. I love that you brought that up because I feel like people are rating him that high as like a potential like number one overall pick because he plays two positions. He's not going to be doing that in the NFL. I mean,
he's going to have a package.
You got to be, how are you going to be in two meeting rooms at once in the NFL? You can get away with it in college where you can just say, oh, go run around, kid, go be athletic. That doesn't work like that in the NFL. And forget about the field aspect of it, of like fatigue and playing too much snaps and possible, chance of injury. But when it comes to preparation, being in the DB room and learning all the different coverages where you got to be, where everybody else got to be, and then having to go in the offense's meeting room, that's too much, man. That's way too much. I love Travis Hunter.
And let's say he's a football prodigy. Let's say that he can do it. again, he's like 170 something pounds.
All right.
It's just I just don't see that sustainable. I mean, Saquon Barkley, you run him into the ground, he's 230, 6'1". Like, I just can't see that working out. And as a receiver, I see him as a top 10 pick, just only as a receiver. As a corner, I see him as a top 10 pick. But in our situation, he's the guy that you take if you already feel like you have a quarterback, or if you already feel like you have everything else in place. But taking him at 3, I don't think he really moves the needle, because we have the change maker at wide receiver. I just don't see where it works out.
My whole issue, I've said all along with him, is it's not even the corner or wide receiver thing, because it gets to me, if you're a team picking as high as going to get him, you probably have a need of both. Let's be honest. You probably don't have the best roster in the world. My issue is, and it's the same thing I say with Sanders even, is who do they play? Look at that schedule. Like, what? He was beating up on guys that'll never, ever be in the NFL? Like, that's who he's playing against? Like, that's... I tell people all the time, if you want a receiver, go take McMillan. If you want a corner, go take Will Johnson. Don't take a guy that didn't play but anything but scrubs, basically. And the one decent team that Colorado played, granted it was the bowl game, and they were kind of probably half-assed it to a certain degree, they got smoked. Absolutely smoked.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch him against McMillan, he played really well against McMillan. Actually, Ted is just really great at the point of the catch. And I think I'm not really concerned about the level of competition, because his ball skills at corner alone are going to make him an issue. Like, I see him as like almost like a DRC, where like he can get beat, but he has physical tools that are so great that he'll be able to make up a lot of the issues at the catch point. But again, like, the best receiver in this draft, I would say is Ted McMillan, and then I might put Luther Burden over him. I love Luther Burden.
Yeah, I know that you commented on my post about
in the
Luther.
Draft.
Yes, I love Luther Burden.
I think he's like Malik Neighbors. He's like Jamar Chase. He's going to be one of those guys. But Will Johnson, I think, is a better corner.
Yeah, definitely. So, just reading a couple of comments here. Armand asked about Cooper Rush. No, he's a backup of a backup. He's a QB2.
Cooper Rush or Carson Wentz?
We are desperate.
I'd take Cooper Rush over.
Give me Cooper
over
Rush.
I'm saying the same thing.
Yo, Alex taking a beating right now.
I mean,
he's trying to backtrack. He's like, how do I backtrack out of this Carson Wentz thing now? He's like, no.
It's a win-win.
The funniest thing is Paul Dottino talking about Jimmy G every week. He's trying to get Jimmy G here.
No.
The funny thing
Jimmy
is Paul
G.
just talking in general. I've never seen such a homer. It's not even funny. But yet he blames Malik Neighbors on everything this past year. Like,
has he? I
haven't seen that.
Oh, I went on it when he was on the SI channel. He goes on there and does the live show, and I was like, dude, are you kidding me? The one guy you're blasting is Malik Neighbors. I get it. The drops
because he dropped a couple. Yeah.
And he gets on him ever since the Commanders game because that big drop he had there. But it's like, dude, if that guy wasn't balling out the whole game, you're not even in that position to win that game. But let's ignore that because of the one drop.
Brother broke the catch record. Like,
and anyone who kind of rode that train just to get the blame off Daniel Jones, I'm not even gonna venture into that. Gentlemen, I think you have to consider the fact of which QB fits Dable's scheme. Justin Fields. I would go with Justin Fields.
Yep.
As mentioned, what's up to Jeffrey? Good evening, guys. I'm ready to see the Rodgers Adams wearing Giants jerseys. Ward will learn a lot from him. We're going to the playoffs. I wish I had the same positivity as you, Andre. Unfortunately, I don't. Fields and Mariota are the only ones who fit Dable's scheme. I don't think Dable would be good for Fields. Brissett is also a free agent. Jacoby Brissett. Let's see what else.
He goes in the Carson Wentz category. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, we agree on that. He does go in the Carson Wentz.
It's like last resort.
Yeah, kind of a last resort type thing. KB, your ideal veteran quarterbacks.
Man, I really hate that Matt Stafford blue balled the hell out of us all Giants fans, because I was really looking forward to having Matt Stafford here, man. So now we gotta focus on the likes of Aaron Rodgers and stuff like that. Look, my number one quarterback I want to bring here, I thought about Justin Fields, but because he will be the cheaper option, obviously. He's a guy that you can mold and develop. But my only thing is that what does he provide to a rookie quarterback coming into the league? I don't think he'll be a mentor. Like, he's learning himself. He don't know what the hell he's doing right now either. He needs some mentorship. So I don't know how he would help the Giants in that aspect. That's what I'm kind of prioritizing this on. I think he would make this fun. I think he would definitely fit Brian Dable as far as being a little bit of a mobile quarterback, guys that you could have design runs for. He did a lot of that in Pittsburgh, and he's got a decent arm. So I think that would be pretty fun. But my ideal quarterback I want to bring here is Russell Wilson. I think we can get him on a good deal. If it's like $30 million plus, probably not. I'm not looking at that whatsoever. I heard that was his asking range right before the playoffs. Like, if he wanted to get re-signed to the Pittsburgh Steelers, he was asking for $30 a year. I don't think that's what his asking price is now. That it can't be. But I would want to bring him over here because, one, he's gonna get us some decent production in game. I don't think he's gonna blow us away by any stretch, but I think how he is as a locker room guy, as a guy that can be a mentor, is going to be valuable to a Cam Ward, to a Shedeur Sanders, to a I don't think we would get Jackson Dart. I think we'll get one of those two quarterbacks. But if we don't, whatever quarterback comes in here, I think he'll be a good mentor for that quarterback and help him progress. And I think Russell Wilson can keep himself. I know he didn't have a great time at Denver. I know he didn't, how his Pittsburgh tenure kind of ended wasn't very good, but I think he can keep himself starting. And whenever they feel like Cam Ward is ready, or whoever it is, Shedeur, they'll come in, late in the season or something like that if he's ready. I thought about Aaron Rodgers because it seems more and more likely that it's going to happen. So I have no choice but to put him at my number 2 option because I don't know who else I would want to put. Maybe I'll put Justin Fields as my number 2 option. Then Aaron Rodgers. My problem is with Aaron Rodgers. We talk about his antics and stuff like that. But do you guys remember Hard Knocks? Do you guys remember how much they were on? Everybody, including the coach and the GM, were on their knees for Aaron Rodgers. He's so great. Oh, look at the way he throws that football. Oh my God.
Desperate
they were absolute. That's how you know you're a terrible organization. They've never seen something like that in their practice facility before. Just never. I don't want that to be the Giants. I know that's how it will go, and I don't want that to be the Giants. I have no reason to believe why Brian Dable wouldn't just allowed to be walked all over because he's just trying to keep his job. I know Joe Shane is a strong arm when it comes to contracts. We've seen that with Saquon. We've seen that with Xavier McKinney. We've seen that with a lot of guys. He's a strong arm when it comes to contract negotiations and stuff like that. So I think he can hold his own. But Aaron Rodgers thinks he's LeBron James. He just wants to make his own roster. He's trying to bring his own guys over here, and he thinks he has the ability to do so. I don't think, man, that would be so bad. I love that he'll probably bring over Devontae Adams, but who else is he gonna bring over here? I mean, is he gonna bring
Randall Cobb?
Yeah, right. Is he gonna bring Randall Cobb from the dead? I mean, this is like, who else he's gonna bring a random Green Bay offensive lineman that's 37 years old. I just don't want that.
Mason Crosby comes out of retirement to be
Mason Crosby, Jordy Nelson, just like, hey, I can still play ball.
Donald Driver and Craig
Robert
Jenner.
Tunyon.
Best player in the league.
Oh, what about that other Rodgers kid? The tight end. What's his name?
Richard Rodgers.
Richard
Okay,
Rodgers.
there we go.
Yeah,
Maybe we can get Eddie Lacy to be our defensive tackle.
We might be able to stop the run.
I'm telling you, listen, if anybody in the chat wants a good laugh, type into Twitter, Eddie Lacy, China House.
Wait, I gotta look at it right now.
Eddie Lacy has gone. He tweets out every time he's gone to China House, this restaurant China House, and he tweeted it like 150 times.
No way, that dude's just embracing it. Oh my God! I was about to say you can find Eddie Lacy at your local Dunkin' Donuts or something.
The Golden Corral.
Yeah,
some shit like that.
Shit,
I want to say Jameis made like $1 million last year.
Yeah.
I could very well be wrong, but I remember me criticizing the Giants because they gave Locke $5 million and Winston was like $2 million.
I can't believe
Because
Locke
they
got
didn't want
more
to
than
bring
Jameis.
they did not want to bring legit competition in for DJ.
They
Yeah,
paid,
well,
well,
they
well,
paid
remember
Drew
what
Lock
happened?
$5 million.
Guys, remember what
start-
happened? Remember what happened with Russell Wilson last year, though? Russell Wilson last year was like a second away from being the New York Giants quarterback.
Yep.
They were in negotiations. They had a meeting. And then Joe Shane said, according to reports, that, listen, you are not going to be competing for a starting job. Daniel Jones is our starter. And Russell Wilson was like, all right, peace out. We could have had Russell Wilson for like $1.5 million, and he could have competed for the starter. And maybe it was a blessing in disguise, because maybe we would have won some games and been like 7-9 and not have any chance for a quarterback. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. But man, I mean, talk about how much Daniel Jones had this organization by the nuts.
And talk about players that want to play here. I do think Russell Wilson wants to play here because of his wife.
Yeah.
Having her in New York would be so much better for her business.
That's why he's been connected to the Giants since like 2020. Every time Russell Wilson said he wants out of Seattle, it's always been the Giants as the potential landing spot. And everybody knew it was probably because of Sierra. So, hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. You and Sierra, let's go.
Russell Wilson to me though is like, I don't think he'd be a good mentor for a young quarterback. Everything I've heard about Russell Wilson from his actual teammates is that he's a jerk. So I'm not sure that he will be a good mentor. I'm not sure
he takes it all on the chin. Did you see all those Denver? Did you see all of his Denver teammates cursing him out on the sideline? He's just like, "Yes, sir." Yes,
and
sir.
that
shows lack of respect. They don't respect him.
That's my point. Is like, I'm not sure what he would do, but I think he can play, and I think he'd be less of a public distraction than Aaron Rodgers.
Let Russ cook one more time.
I think Russell Wilson is the perfect guy if you do want to have him start the first half of the season, basically, and then bring the rookie in the rest of the way. I think he'd be good for that. But I
think if you want a mentor, you bring in Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins is a good option too. I just fear Kirk Cousins wouldn't be able to. I know our offensive line isn't the worst it's ever been. I just don't know if Kirk Cousins would be able to. He gets hurt so much. I just don't know if he'll be able to keep up.
Well, yeah, there's.
He'll get hurt and he'll be horrible too, but he'll be a good mentor.
Yeah,
just sacrifice,
you like that?
Just sacrifice something. Like, hey, you're the mentor now. You're out for the season. You're a mentor now. That's what we paid you for.
The Achilles injury, his feet move like he's in quicksand.
Yeah.
But before we get to the non quarterback free agents, we go to the draft. I think it's funny that we were talking about how Russell Wilson would not have been able to compete for the job. And I saw a Ryan Dunleavy tweet from March of last year that I had saved for a long while. It was like John Schneider, the Seahawks GM, on a radio station. He's like, oh, well, Drew Lock left here because he was given a chance to compete for the starting job in New York. And I'm like, well, I'm not even just going to go.
I think that's what they told him.
I don't think they told
him. Apparently, that's what. Didn't he say that's what he was going?
No, he said otherwise. I think John Schneider probably had a talk with Drew Lock, and probably Drew Lock said, "This guy sucks here. I have a better chance to get the job."
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. If you're a free agent quarterback that's a backup and you're getting backup opportunities, the Giants last year were a great spot to go. So you got to look at going, Daniel Jones is hurt every year. Mm-hmm. Daniel Jones looked like trash last year. It's a spot to go and get a chance to play at some point in the season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I saw Drew Lock in the airport last year, and he looked like a guy. That was like fully expecting to play. Like from the way I was excited, the way the conversation went, it looked like he thought that he would like compete for the job in the offseason. So
you talked to him?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I talked to him. I talked. His wife was there. His mom was there. He had a dog.
Damn.
His whole family was there.
They got on the plane, and he's like, "We're flying private from now on." This guy would not leave me alone asking these questions. I just wanted to have a drink at the airport
actually kept
bar.
It to like under a minute because I was like, I see you with your family, man.
Now, I've done that with players too when I happen to come across them and I'd be like, hey, if you want to walk away, I don't want to be that guy.
Exactly.
But I will talk to you for hours on football if you want.
Yeah.
But if you don't, do not feel obligated in any way, shape, or form. I've literally said that to players before. And it's funny because you really do find out sometimes who they are.
Yeah.
Very, very, very true. Moving into non-quarterback free agents, if there is one position or maybe one player, maybe you could list off a bunch that the Giants should take a stab at, who would it be? Why would they fit? I was talking about turnovers before. This player has had 9 interceptions in the last 2 years for the Minnesota Vikings, and his name is Byron Murphy Jr. From the Vikings, he had a really good year last year, obviously 6 interceptions. He's my number one target. I've been mentioning his name throughout. There's obviously a couple other names at defensive tackle. I'd go Sebastian Joseph Day because a lot of statistics rate him as one of the best run defensive tackles, and he also won a Super Bowl. So it'd be like replacing Nacho, a Super Bowl winner with a Super Bowl winner. I don't think the Giants will be in a market for a Milton Williams. I think he's due for an overpay. And there's a couple other guys that the Giants will go after, but I'll start with KB, some ideal free agents.
Man, like I said, free agency, I haven't took a big look at, but my number one guy I really want right now is DJ Reed at cornerback. I mean, that's my number one guy right now. As far as taking a stab at, like I said, I think we should spend a decent amount of money on trying to fix that cornerback position, not just get some guy on the street to compete with Deontay Banks. I want a guy that's going to be the number one corner, and I think that's the only way to fix the situation. It's funny that you mentioned Sebastian Joseph Day. I don't know if he remembers me still, but I went to school with him as a kid, and I know his sister, but I don't think he remembers me, so that's funny. If he becomes a Giant one day, that would be hilarious. But as far as anybody else, man, I would have to look back on the list. You know what's crazy? I saw Harold Landry get cut. I don't know what he would be asking for, but if the Giants don't see anything with Kayvon Thibodeau, man, I would be willing to take a stab at Harold Landry. And on top of that, there's talks about trading to number 1 overall pick and Kayvon being a part of that package. If he is, I'll take Harold Landry. I like Harold Landry.
Yeah, Diggy.
Yeah, I mean, I would pretty much pair what KB said. DJ Reed is probably up there for me. In a perfect world, I want to go after Milton Williams, but I'd rather just probably go into the draft looking for a defensive tackle to start. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I just want to get, whether it be Aziz, whether it be a Harold Landry, whether it be we need to get a legit edge rusher in here. Like, we need to get a legit edge rusher because I just don't like earlier I said I'm giving up on Tyler Nubin. The Giants have just put me in a mood where like I'm just ready to give up on players after like
one
a
and
year
done.
or 2 years. Because like I always say, like I'm always like the YouTuber and I'm telling people, calm down. He's literally a rookie. And we're here 3-4 years later, and the player is worse than they were as a rookie. So at this point,
Jalen
like
Hyatt.
I'm ready to replace Kayvon. I don't understand why we would like people literally say we've already invested a first-round pick on Kayvon. Why would we take Abdul Carter? Because he's a better player than Kayvon Thibodeau.
And he's on his last year, and Kayvon's on his last year.
Like this is literally like team building 101. So we need to get a legit edge rusher in here. We need to get a legit defensive tackle. But as far as like actual names, I'm looking at Reed. I think Cam Bynum might be, like you mentioned, a good option. But I'm forgetting that guard's name. Not Trey Smith.
Team.
Oh man, I'm completely forgetting it. But
about the one for the Bears,
Tevin Jenkins is there.
Jenkins.
I'd be open to, but there's another guard. But Will Fries, Will Freeze, I've seen him pronounced a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm not really open to signing him, not because he's a Colts player, because this was his breakout season and he played 5 games. So it's like I'm not really looking to overpay a guy.
He only played 5 games ever.
He played 5 games this year, and
Damn,
this is his breakout
the number
year.
one name right now?
Because it's that bad free agency right now.
My goodness.
Be honest.
Yeah.
You got Trey Smith, and it's like,
I'm looking for free agency guards.
I forgot that BJ Hill is. Bring BJ Hill back.
Yeah. Oh, you stole my thunder. I had him going.
God.
I had him ready to go.
Oh, bring BJ Hill back. I love the BJ Hill, man.
Let's see.
But for free agent guards, James Daniels is also there, who is one of the best run blockers in the NFL.
Aaron Banks was the guy I was thinking of. I think we can get him on a decent deal.
We're bringing back
Notre Dame kid.
Yep.
Yeah, Aaron Banks. Let's see who else is a free agent. Well, what's his
Ben
KB was
Brereton.
talking about bringing BJ Hill back. Let's bring Will Hernandez back.
Yeah, he was a lot better in Arizona than he ever was with the Giants. Golly.
He can
Kevin
stay in
Zeitler.
Arizona.
Guys, I would say it's all a bunch of ex-Giants here.
Yeah, Kevin Zeitler. No,
John
he's-
Feliciano.
He retired.
Feliciano retired?
He retired. He
Yeah,
said he
you
said
didn't
he'd
see
come
that.
out towards the end of the year if one of the teams that are still in it wants him, but otherwise he's done.
Yeah,
I forgot. Remember that meme where they were like going around saying like somebody saying like who wanted me and nobody wanted. That's like John Feliciano was like a lucky team will have a shot at me at the end of the year.
Which one of
Like,
you?
You're
lucky
John
to-
Feliciano, man. Like, come on.
He's like that dude at the bar that doesn't know he's ugly.
That's like also that was like Justin Pugh. Shout out Justin Pugh. I mean he's a great guy, but he said yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go to any other team, just the Giants. I think I'll just, if the Giants want me back, I'll come back to the Giants, man. They don't even want you back
Yeah,
outside.
it's been a year and a half. I
You're
think.
staying on the couch this time.
No team wants you back. He's
Yeah.
acting like he's just shutting down conversation with other teams. Man, no one's calling you, brother. Come on.
What about Becton as a guard?
I'm scared if we were to get a Becton because he lucked out going to one of the best organizations in football with the best offensive lines that can get the best out of him. He comes to the Giants, he's gonna be Jets Mekhi Becton all over again. I would be scared about getting him, but he played
What
well
about
in
Evan
Philly.
Neal?
Well, that's my whole thing, though. I think
Right?
honestly,
We already got a Mekhi Becton, Evan Neal.
I think you go ahead and you
Got
just
Mekhi
re-sign
Becton
Greg
at home.
Van Roden. You pop him back at the guard position potentially. You go ahead and let Evan Neal work in there at the right guard position as well and see what happens there. And then you also go ahead and draft a swing tackle because I'm tired of seeing Josh Azuda's butt going out there
yes.
every time Andrew Thomas
My
gets hurt.
God.
And you know what?
Why- Yeah.
If you get a guy who's good at swing tackle and maybe he comes in and impresses you in camp, maybe you put him at a right tackle and you move Illuminor into right guard even. And that gives you the option to move Van Roten to center if you have to because how JMS has kind of really disappointed us the first 2 years there. You have these options now available. I don't think we got to go out and sign a big name corner.
No.
I'm sorry, it's guard. I really don't.
Big name
Corner,
guard,
we
yeah.
do.
Ooh,
Corner,
George
Yeah, I
we do.
think they should
Fans.
make a documentary for how Josh Azuda was treated here. He was drafted as a guard. He never got to play guard.
Never.
And now his whole career is about to be over because he never got to play the position that he was drafted to play.
That's crazy.
And that's honestly horrible.
That's what happens when you are versatile in college. You know, they say, oh, well, you've played left tackle before, so you'll be fine. He always projected to be a guard.
This is
And,
also
yeah.
why people, when they complain about Dion talking about he wants to control where Shedeur goes, this is why.
Oh, that's true. That's true. And if Shedeur looks like he's going to the Browns right now, so
We'll see about it. Listen, if you're let's say you had a kid that's going to be a top flight quarterback in the draft, and you were putting it together a list of teams that should not take him, and you're going to tell them point blank, don't take him. I find it very difficult to believe that the Cleveland Browns are not at the very top of that list.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Shedeur said that he wouldn't mind going to the Browns, but I'm like, if you're gonna make, because Dion always said it. Dion said, "Yeah, I will pull an Eli Manning for a certain team."
Yep.
Why would the Browns not be one of those teams? I mean,
I heard
how do
Browns
they-
and Jets. I heard Browns and
They're
Jets. the two
100%
teams.
one of those teams. He's
Yeah.
not going to play
So,
for the Browns.
'cause-
He's just-
And Cleveland, apparently, everybody after the combine, everybody said that they're taking a quarterback no matter what. So at 2, they're taking a quarterback. They're in for a
Jackson
surprise
Dart
if they take Shedeur Sanders and Dion gets on stage and says, "Stop the count. We're not. we ain't
Man,
doing
they're not
this."
taking Shedeur Sanders because they don't. They're not taking him.
Can Sanders
Yeah.
go pull an Elway and go play for the Yankees for a little while?
Yeah.
By the way, have you ever looked up Elway's stats when he actually did play for the Yankees? They were actually legit. He could have been a damn good baseball player.
I don't even know. Elway played baseball.
Well, I
So
remember when,
that was the whole thing. Elway was drafted by the Yankees, along being drafted by the Baltimore Colts. And his camp told the Colts point blank, "Do not draft me. I will not play for you." So they drafted him. So he threatened to go back into play baseball because he already had gone and played a little bit, at very, very low levels for the Yankees. And that's why they ended up trading him over to the Broncos. But you look at his stats. His stats were legit. Like, he actually had a potential to play baseball.
yeah, I remember remember Dion played for the Yankees. He had an inside the park home run, and
the Braves.
he hit a ball over the head of Bo Jackson, nonetheless. So a little.
He didn't like his time in New York, though. And that's part of the thing that we're saying about with him not wanting to potentially have his kid in New York because he didn't like the way he was treated by the fans and the media.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody does that. I don't think any player does.
no, not at
Here we
all.
go. I got John Elway's stats. It's 185 plate appearances, 42 games. He had a 318 batting average, 4 home runs, 25 RBIs for, and I'm going to probably mispronounce the hell out of this town. Oneonta? Oneonta. Yeah. It was the New York. It was part of the New York Pennsylvania League, the minor league teams for the Yankees going back to 1982.
Jesus, wow, a while ago, almost more than 40 years.
But that's a legit start.
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Drew, who are your before we head into the draft part? Drew, who are your top free agents that you'd eye?
Well, my BJ Hill Thunder got stolen. That was one of my guys I've been saying for a while now. Definitely BJ Hill. Like, undo the mistake. Because that was the mistake ever to trade him.
Oh my God, what that was one of the worst trades I've ever seen for Billy Price.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And I get a Billy Price when he came out had some hype to him. I thought he'd be a better player than he was. But you had already seen a couple years of Billy Price at that point. You knew what he was. The Bengals had a horrible offensive line. They wanted rid of him. So, I think, you get a guy like that. You got to get a guy that's a decent complementary piece, at that point to go with Sexy Dexy there. But corner is, besides quarterback, corner is like the second most biggest spot there. And to me, there's 5 corners that I would be okay with getting any of those 5. And it is Murphy, like you mentioned there. It is DJ Reed. It is Shervarius Ward. Carlton Davis, I would also go ahead and take as well. And in a pinch, if I can't get one of those 4 guys, maybe take a 1-year flyer to Jonathan Jones. Like he's getting to that age where like year to year you don't know what he is anymore. But listen, guys, if Deontay Banks is our CB1, oh God, I'm gonna be so like furious. But what I like about it is the guys that are out there are guys that are good corners that you could sit there and put the CB1 and not be embarrassed by them. Mm-hmm. But none of those guys are so good that you can't have that conversation with Banks and say, you know what, you want to be CB1, go earn it.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of like that because you drafted him, you traded up for him even to get him. Now, I thought it was a reach. I thought he was a second-round grade. That's what I had on Banks that season. I thought I was kind of a little shocked we took him. But, you drafted him thinking he's going to be a stud corner. You can still give him the shot to be one potentially if you take one of those guys.
Yeah, definitely. What's up to Coach Ed in the chat? But moving into the final portion of the show, which is the draft portion, before we get to the quarterbacks, what is a non-QB position the Giants must draft and the players you are eyeing? For me, I'll start off. Swing tackle, you might be actually able to solve in free agency, depending. I think Jack Driscoll from the Eagles is a very good option. But I think in the draft, I don't think it's a O-line class deep like last year, but I think there's still some very good pieces. Defensive line is a absolute must. I would say maybe try to double dip like very early, and then maybe later on if you see guys fall due to injury concerns or this or that or whatever. Quarterback is a must. I do think you might need another corner in that room because if you look at it, again, it's like Cordell Flott, Deontay Banks, Andrew Phillips, and Art Green. And that's just not going to happen. The safety room is pretty blank too, because let's just say you sign a veteran like a Cisco or a Murray or a Pinnock, like it's not great back there. Like there's Belton, there's Newbin, but you still need another guy. So I'll throw it around. I'll start with Drew.
I hate ever going to any draft saying this is a must. I'm very much a best player available kind of guy, but you look at what we got this team, and quarterback's going to have to be taken. It's going to have to absolutely be taken. And, you hear mixed on the top 2, obviously. Some people are mocking Shedeur Sanders the second round now, which I think is absolutely nuts. There's no way in hell No way in hell he makes it past the Raiders in my eyes.
Yeah.
He'll be a top 6 pick. Where he goes in that top 6, we'll find out, but he'll be a top 6 pick. To me, the Giants are going to do everything they can to draft, trade up and get Cam Ward. I really think that those rumors are true. I think the fact that they've been showing they love Shedeur Sanders so much tells me that he's not their number one. Because if there's one thing about Joe Shane that I respect, that man's got a poker face and a half. He really does when it comes to the draft. Remember, he hated Kayvon Thibodeau. The Giants would never draft Kayvon Thibodeau. That was all you heard about leading up to that draft. The second they got the chance, Kayvon Thibodeau. You know, they don't like to show. It's not like some past regimes. Like I can't remember. What year was it that Jerry Reese had like 2 or 3 guys that everybody knew he loved, taken right ahead of him. You know, Leonard Floyd was one of them.
Leonard Floyd.
Yeah.
I was about to say Leonard Floyd. Yeah.
You know,
Leonard Floyd in the offensive lineman.
And then we go, oh my God, Eli Apple.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. We scrambled because, you know, and that's the one thing for all the faults that I have with Joe Shane. And I've said it point blank many times that he should have been gone this year. Him and Dable both, I think. But the one thing he's good at is you don't know what the hell he's thinking in the draft. So if you hear people saying the Giants love Shedeur Sanders, you can't trust that. And I do think that is going to be where it's at now. It wouldn't shock me at all, though, if they just go with the mid-round quarterback as well and say, you know what? These guys aren't worth that top 3 pick. We're not going to go that route. We'll get one later on. And I've said all along, and one guy that I like that I think is kind of undervalued in this draft, and he's got to go to the right system to succeed. I'm going to throw that caveat in there. And when I mean succeed, he'll definitely at the very least be a good backup, but he's got the potential to be a starter in this league, I think, and that's Dylan Gabriel. And I think a lot of people are not nearly as high as I am, but we'll find out if I'm right as his career takes off there. But besides quarterback, defensive tackle, like you mentioned, it's a very deep defensive tackle draft. We definitely got to go ahead and go get a guy that can play on that line, along with getting somebody to free agency. That's a position we got to get like 3 or 4 guys this offseason that can play, because you got to be rotating people in and out of that position. And who do we have right now? DJ Davidson, is that what we're going with? Yeah, like
Elijah Chapman.
How many people we bring off the streets to play that position that already bombed out 2 of the 3 teams this year? Like, we're going to have to get at least one guy in the draft and get a couple guys in free agency, or like you said, a couple in the draft and get one in free agency. But yeah, those are the positions there. I love corner, like you said, we're definitely thin in that corner room there. It's just, again, to me, you got to take best player available. The only other thing that I wouldn't mind seeing is I really wouldn't mind getting a second running back to pair with Tyrone Tracy. I think there's a couple of guys in this draft that you can get that are more north-south runners that I think would pair very well with him. You know, and I think that's an interesting thing to look at, because Singletary's got 1 more year in his deal, and Eric Gray point blank was a waste of a draft pick, which I called when we drafted him. And I hated the fact that Joe Shane literally said they drafted him because they panicked because a bunch of kick returners got taken before him. First off, if you're dumb enough to do that, don't admit it publicly.
Whoever heads the PR department really should have counseled him before that.
Yeah,
I didn't
or at
even
least
know
cut
that,
the mic. Cut the mic halfway through.
Yeah, it's like, why is my mic off? I didn't even know that, by the way, which is completely.
Yeah, he said that point blank. He said point blank that they panicked because they had a whole bunch of people ahead of him to be a kick returner taken, and then all of a sudden they took him.
And then they put him at kick return.
Because he did it. Didn't do it well. Did it.
Nope.
Could have got Puka Nacua. Just say, I mean, granted, everybody hindsight's 2020 with that one, obviously. But I'm saying he was sitting there. Imagine having Puka Nacua with Malik Neighbors right now.
And they didn't learn that lesson either, because what was it in Cleveland this year? Yeah. Gray had the fumble on the kickoff that I was there for,
and in Seattle.
Yeah, not fun. Not very.
Does he even have 100 rushing yards yet?
The Giants win all the games that Eric Gray fumbles in the first play of the game. So just to let you guys know.
You know what the crazy thing was, though, is he had that great preseason game against the Lions. We all got excited, and I even eat a little crow. I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's going to do good this year. Yeah, and I was right after all. I hate to be right on that one.
Shiner. Diggy, what are some players non-quarterback that you'd be looking at to draft, or positions?
I mean, I've been doing a lot of quarterback work, but I would say one player that I really like that's coming off of an injury. Well, 2 players that most people like. Benjamin Morrison and Siobhan Revel. So I'm hoping that one of those two fall to the second round. If so, I would be over the moon. Kenneth Grant is a guy I think would be solid if we get him in the second round. I'm just kind of hoping that out of these defensive tackles and corners, that one falls to the second round. As far as the whole quarterback thing, I would love to get Tyler Shuck on this team one way or another. Now he's like 26 and he's gotten injured like 7 times, but
fits right in.
Tyler Shuck, I love his film. He has a really great arm. He can move. I'd be happy to see him on the team. I'm not sure if he could ever be a starter, but he has a lot of tools, and he could possibly be something.
Yeah, very good backup, at least. That's when we were down at the Senior Bowl. That's what we at least took out of it. KB, some players outside the quarterback position that you'd look to draft, or positions?
Yeah, as far as positions go, I would say our number one need to try to attack would be cornerback, but I really feel like the Giants are going to get a cornerback in free agency, so I don't know if it will be great to get one in the second round if we sign a free agent cornerback. So that's if they get one. If not, I'm a Ben Morrison guy too. I haven't watched Rebel film yet, but everybody's in love with him, so I'll take their word on it. But as far as a position I really want to attack, it's defensive interior for sure. I mean, if you just look at the roster that we have right now, I mean, we saw what that unit was like when Dexter Lawrence got shut down for the season, or if he even came out for a play or two. It was just huge run after huge run, no pressure from the inside. So a guy that I really, really like, another Toledo kid this year, Darius Alexander. I mean, he is, I think, the perfect complement to Dexter Lawrence, playing that 3-tech role, because we know Dex is, playing 0-tech and he's on the nose. Just to get a guy that can also penetrate the pocket from the interior, like Darius Alexander can, constantly put pressure on there. I would love a guy like Derek Harmon. I think he's a perfect fit, but he's not going to fall to the second round. I don't think he would be a guy that would be in consideration there. I think he's going to be a mid-first round pick, but Darius Alexander is my next best option there, and I think he's a perfect match for Dexter Lawrence. And yeah, as far as, and somebody put it in the comments too, Damian Martinez, Drew mentioned a north-south runner. I really like Damian Martinez out of Miami. I was watching a lot of Cam Ward films, so I'm naturally watching other Miami players as well. I really like him. I know his draft stock's kind of rising. I don't know where he kind of lands now, but now he's getting more and more attention. I think because everybody's watching Ward film and then the combine and things like that. So I like him as a kind of a 1-2 to Tyrone Tracy. Haven't done too much other running back film as far as like a power back goes. I know about a lot of running backs here, but a guy like Cam Scatabo, who's like a power back / feature back, he's not going to be in the range for the Giants. He's probably going to be a second, third round pick or something like that. I don't think the Giants would go that high to get a running back. I haven't gone through the mid-round picks yet, but yeah, I would love to get a guy in here also to complement Tyrone Tracy, because as much as I love him, I just don't think he's going to be a guy you're going to want to give 25 touches to a game, or 25 or 30. So yeah.
I wonder about Caleb Johnson now that we got the running backs coach here.
I like him. I like Caleb Johnson too. I think he's getting like second round, third round hype too. I just don't know. I seen a mock draft. I seen a mock draft where they put him in the first round. I was like, golly, there's no way. Well, yeah, I think that was Daniel Jeremiah put him in the first. Somebody did in one of their first round mock drafts.
My big thing is we got to have a legit running game going, because we're going to get a rookie quarterback.
Exactly.
And I want that security blanket for him.
Right.
In fact, I've already been talking to some people. I'd say if I want to bring back Evan Ingram, even I would bring him back to have that security blanket with him and Theo Johnson and double tight ends at that point to throw short to.
Daniel Bellinger. Nobody loves Daniel Bellinger.
No, it's not that I don't love Bellinger. It's just, let's be very frank, it's clear the coaching staff doesn't.
I know. I don't know what happened. He didn't even do anything wrong. The man was he had a good rookie season, and they're like, hey.
They don't like players that get poked in the eye. They don't like that.
Yeah,
that's
they don't
not
like
the Giant.
I feel bad for his dad, man.
Out.
I feel bad for his dad. His dad be on Twitter supporting his son, and he's like wondering why he's not getting no playing time. I'm like, damn, man, I don't know.
We're all wondering why.
Yeah, I don't know.
Even Manhurt's got more playing time than him, and Manhurst just got re-signed today.
Yeah, he got re-signed. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I like him.
I'm
He's
not a
good
big fan
blocking
of Derek
tight end.
at all, though. I don't think he's going to be good in the NFL.
Who? Sorry.
I said I'm not a big fan of Derek Harmon at all, though. I don't.
You don't like
see it.
Harmon?
I think he does a lot of running around, but when he makes contact with people, they don't really go back. I don't.
He
don't-
slips off a tackle. He slips off a tackle.
Yeah, I think hands, like heavy hands, are the most important thing for defensive linemen because all of the undersized defensive linemen you see that succeed, when they touch people, people go backwards. Like they feel it every time. And I think Derek Harmon is a lot of finesse, and I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
that's
like him
translate.
being slippery, you know, between the gaps. That's why I like it. Yeah, he's not really much of a power guy.
Because like you compare him to people can say like, oh, Aaron Darnold, oh, John Randall, oh, but all of those guys were like supremely powerful. Micah Parsons, undersized, supremely powerful. So
keep in mind though, both those guys you mentioned there also were very, very undervalued when they came out of the draft.
Oh, and they weren't undervalued by. Well, listen, I didn't scout John Randall, but
I said
Aaron,
I can tell you I didn't scout John Randall, but I know I was, you know, I'm old enough to have seen him in his heyday, and yeah, he was a guy that came out of nowhere when he came out. So that's not a guy that you were like, oh, we got to get John Randall. He's going to bring pressure up the middle and everything here. He was. Let me see, where was he drafted? If I remember right, yeah, he went undrafted.
Yeah, he didn't.
I thought so. I want to verify before I open my mouth and insert my foot there. But yeah, he went completely undrafted. And Aaron Donald, you kept hearing people when he got drafted, oh, he's too small. He's too small.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that tape didn't lie. That tape was incredible.
Yeah.
Like his tape compared, and I'm not saying you're doing that, but his tape compared to Derek Harmon is like 7 stratospheres away from each other in college.
Somebody said Josh Farmer in the comments.
Yeah.
Yo, Josh Farmer had himself a combine. Holy moly, that guy was moving. He moved so well. I think he helped his stock a lot. I haven't watched his film yet, but I've heard of him and I seen his combine performance, and he was great.
Yeah. If you're talking about Tyler Show, I think he would fall to day 3. I don't see why he would be a day 2 pick.
Yeah, there's no way he's going.
Hey, let's double it up. Cam Ward and Tyler.
Yeah, definitely. I'm open to that. I want to take a late round quarterback regardless because we need to develop a young quarterback that was actually
worked out for Washington
to be a backup.
I say,
as a backup. But before we get to the mock draft, I want to throw one question out for everybody. What do you think of? And I'll start with Drew on this one. Shedeur Sanders is a prospect as well as his antics. Obviously, we saw multiple rumors at the combine as well as to his press conference. What are your thoughts on all that stuff and also what he would bring to the Giants? Because obviously he's the more controversial quarterback compared to Cam Ward. Yep. Drew, I'll start with you.
I have no issue with his antics whatsoever. Let me just put this out there that keep in mind again, and we all are a product of our environment. Shedeur Sanders, obviously his dad, Dion. And again, I'm a little older than some of y'all, so I got a little bit of history that I've kind of picked up over the years from those. Deion Sanders was invited to talk to the Giants at the combine when he was coming out. He said, where are you picking again? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I won't be there.
I remember that.
Point blank.
Yeah, I remember that.
So can we blame his son for having the same type of attitude? This is what he was brought up in. This is the way he was raised. His dad's already come out publicly saying he's going to pull an Eli Manning. Like, this shouldn't have shocked anybody this stuff happened. I don't know why it is shocking people. Now, what I do love, and I saw the tape like crazy of his interview at the combine with the press and talking about how he's going to change culture wherever he goes and stuff like that. And people are knocking this guy. I don't know why. I want a guy who's confident as my quarterback. I want a guy who's a leader. And let's be very frank, no matter where this guy goes, whether it's the Giants or somebody else, again, I said he's going to be a top 6 pick in my eyes. He's going to a team that has not played well. He's going to a team that has not developed a team. Why not have that attitude of, I need to come here and change this culture and help out? As long as you don't do it in a cocky way, like, we're going to do this together kind of attitude when you get there, I have no problem with that whatsoever. I think of the 2 quarterbacks, and I said this all on, to me, this is kind of like Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. We said in our show last year that Harrison had the higher floor and Neighbors had the higher ceiling. This is, to me, the same exact scenario. If you tell me right now I had to pick one of those 2 quarterbacks, Ward or Sanders, to be a bust, I'm picking Ward. If you're telling me I have to pick one of those two quarterbacks to be an absolute stud, I'm still picking Ward. He's going to be a boomer bust kind of guy for me. Whereas Shedeur Sanders, I feel, has a high enough floor that he's going to be at the very least a low-end starter in this league probably when it's all said and done. And he's got the potential to be an above average, but he'll probably never be elite, and he'll never be a complete bust.
Yeah.
Okay. Diggy?
I don't have any issues with Shedeur Sanders. Last year when he came out and he said, like, he basically threw his offensive line under the bus, I didn't like that, and I said there's no way that I'd ever want him to be on the Giants. But, like, as I've kind of watched more and more, it looks like he's grown in the last year. And the way that I see his team respond to him shows that he's a leader. And you could kind of tell, like, if he's Deion Sanders' son and they're like, you're just the coach's son and you haven't had to work hard and you get special treatment, the team would not look at him the way I see that team look at him. Like, this guy came to the East-West Shrine Bowl just because he wanted to go there to support his teammates. Like, he's a guy that is very flashy. And like Drew just said, his dad is flashy. His entire family is flashy. So he's going to be flashy. Mm-hmm. But when you see him as a person, when you see him interact with his team, it's clear that they respond to him. It's clear that he's a leader. And I think that's exactly the type of leadership that the Giants need. Like, we've tried making a clone of Eli Manning. Eli Manning is going to come along once in a lifetime. Like, there's not many players that are as passive and that are as calm as Eli Manning that are going to be able to compete at with the same level of intensity that he did. So I don't have a problem with that. I think Shedeur Sanders is going to be just fine. I think he does have that shot to be an elite quarterback, but all I really need is for him to be like the 13th or 12th or 11th or 9th best quarterback in the league. If he's between 8 and 14 for the majority of his career and we can build a team around him, he's fine. Jalen Hurts, people say that he's awful. People say that he's amazing. But at the end of the day, Jalen Hurts is an average quarterback who rises his play in clutch moments, which that's what he did this year. So that's what we need. Eli Manning, he's my GOAT. But at the end of the day, he was not Aaron Rodgers every week. He rose his level of play. He was a top 10 quarterback for the majority of his career, and he rose his level of play to compete with those elite players in those clutch moments. And I could definitely see Shedeur Sanders doing that. So I think the personality is a plus. I just don't see that being a problem here. I don't think he'll come here with the same kind of attitude that he came to Colorado with. Like, you all are losers and I'm coming here to fix you. Because part of that was just him just saying, like, my dad just said it, so I have to have his back here. Like, players are attacking my dad because he just came here and called them losers, which they were. and I mean, they were. They were a loser.
Yeah,
they were a loser program.
Bro.
And he was literally trying to get players to quit. This isn't college.
Yep.
So I don't think he's going to come here and do that. So I don't see that being an issue.
Yeah. KB?
Yeah, it sucks that this is like a topic of conversation because, I mean, and it's fine to talk about too. It's like, is he going to be a distraction for an NFL team and stuff like that? And listen, I get these comments all the time when I talk about Shedeur Sanders, and they always think it's negative. It's not negative. You guys can go back. I was very supportive of the whole Colorado football program back when Deion first got hired, and Shedeur and Deion and all that stuff. I love their family. And this is not attacking Deion as a father. I think he's doing a great job as a father, but I think he needs to scale it back major, because if anything, it was damn near close to hurting his draft stock. I'll tell you right now, before this also, I was keeping up with everything Deion was talking about. Back when during the season, before the college football season, and Shedeur's the best quarterback. Nobody's better than Shedeur. He's going number one. And I'll tell you right now, if a team is ready to draft him, we're gonna pull Eli Manning. Deion walked back every single one of those statements already. Like he's like, oh well, we're just gonna be very grateful to go to any organization that picks Shedeur because now everybody's putting the film on. Now the whole apparently, according to like people in the combine and insiders, all 32 teams have Cam Ward as the number one quarterback. So, and it's not because of the antics and stuff like that. I'm just saying that Dion almost was a big problem for Shedeur as far as PR goes, you know, and I don't think it was Shedeur at all. And as both of you said, he's just a product of his environment. Deion Sanders, prime time is his father. You know what I'm saying? Literally, prime time is his father. So, you know, I don't blame it. And to what you guys were saying too, I want my quarterback to be like not arrogant, but like extremely confident. I want my quarterback to go out there and believe he's the best player on the field at all times. At all times. So I really don't have a problem with Shedeur. Me personally, I have Shedeur as a second round grade, so I don't even want him at the 3rd overall pick. That's just me. But if the Giants take him, I'm gonna support him. But that's pretty much it. But also with Shedeur Sanders, just because I have him as a second round grade doesn't mean I probably wouldn't support getting him. Shedeur, if the Giants were to draft him, because I understand there's a difference between draft grades and draft projections, you know. So yeah, when it comes to Shedeur antics, I don't think it's gonna be a problem in the NFL. I don't think you're gonna see like him throwing like that whole controversy that happened with his teammate that he was like, "Who are you?" or whatever. That ain't happening in the NFL. And people got to remember at the end of the day, like these are college kids. These are kids at the end of the day, you know, and they're being put in the spotlight. Think about us when we were 19, 20, 21 years old and we had that kind of spotlight, you know, we'd be saying some crazy stuff. So
thank God there was no social media back when I was that age.
That's what I'm saying. People want to act like these guys should be already like media trained and you know, have the maturity of like 35-year-olds, man. But you know, I've seen Shedeur grow over the course of like the past 2 years, and he'll be a leader. And as far as all his teammates talk about him, you know, they love him. They love him over there. So, I have no problem with Shedeur as far as possibly being like a distraction or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. So, with that said, we're going to transition to the final stage. This is the mock draft simulator I use anyway, which is
oh yeah, Broshmo uses that one.
Database. Yeah. Giants are 3rd overall, so we're already here. Giants have, I think, 8 picks or something like that. Like 4, yeah, 8 picks.
We have to trade up right off the bat.
I mean, if we wanted to, we could.
Yeah, that's my next video I'm coming out with. Trade up edition.
Yeah, nice little spoiler there. Keep an eye out for it. All right. I'm going to let the panel dictate this. Should we trade up or should we sit at 3?
All depends. I feel like I don't know, man. I don't know, because if we go to 3, we ain't getting Cam Ward. He's my guy, you know.
I think the question that should determine if we want to trade up is where would you all draw the line for trading up? Would you give up a first next year and a 3rd? Would you give up multiple first? I don't think any of us would give up multiple first next year and the year after.
Let me kick this off. I feel like the whole quarterback premium thing is always blown out of proportion every single year. I don't think people are telling me that, oh, it's going to be, you know, the first, it's going to be the 34th overall pick, and then it's going to be a first next year. Guys, it's not going to be that much to move up 2 spots. I promise you. I promise you. You look at, I know it's a long time ago. Look at the Mike Vick trade up. Okay, that's probably the closest thing we can kind of relate it to. They didn't have to give up a first next year. Last time I checked, I don't think they had to give up a first the next year. They went from 5 to 1. I know it was all the way back in 2001, but still, it's like people put the quarterback premium thing, they blow it out of proportion. I really think if we add Kayvon into that trade, because I think Tennessee would be very interested in Kayvon. If we add Kayvon into it, I think we can get away with the third overall pick, obviously, like our 3rd round this year and 2nd next year, along with Kayvon. I really think we don't have to give the 34th overall pick. I think that's where negotiations will start. But if we strong arm Tennessee and be like, hey, look, you're gonna still get the guy that you want. Nobody else. You don't want to trade. You don't want to trade with the Raiders. You're not gonna get the guy you want. You know, you're not gonna get Abdul or Travis Hunter. You'll be guaranteed at least Abdul or Travis Hunter if you go to 3. I don't think there's much leverage for the Tennessee Titans. I really don't think there is.
I think the trade to look at really is the Sam Darnold trade, actually, with the Jets. Went from 6 to 3. They gave up 3 seconds, I believe.
Yeah. It's not going to take like the whole farm to move up a couple spots. I promise you. I know people are like, but KB is the first overall pick. We're the third overall pick.
Draft. But it's also a weak top draft, and people got to remember that too. It's part of it. The value is not there like it usually is because there's not there a consensus number 1 overall pick kind of guy.
Yeah, would you do a 3rd round pick this year and a 1st round next year? Would that be too much for you all?
I would do.
I don't want to give up another first. I don't want to give another first.
So I think my argument at this point is if you don't want to give up a future first, should you be taking that quarterback first overall? If you're not even willing to give up a next year's
here's the problem. I don't think Cam Ward is not worth it. I just think that's too much for 2 spots.
Yeah, but at the same time,
where do you draw the line? If Cam Ward is actually a franchise quarterback, then give up 3 first rounds. You know, like it shouldn't matter. I just think it matters about where you're picking at and what's really like what makes sense, realistically makes sense, because then you can draw the line anywhere. If Cam Ward is truly a number, if you believe in him that much and he's a franchise quarterback, like 2 first round picks would probably be worth it. I'm
looking at that's part of the equation is how much do you believe in Cam Ward is part of that equation.
That's my whole thing.
The other part of that is,
I'm
going to say it this way, and maybe I'm a little crazy for thinking that, and we can't, in this purpose here, know what's going to happen, but it also depends on what quarterback you're going to get veteran-wise. Let's say you get Justin Fields, hypothetically. Does that make you less needy to move up to get a Cam Ward potentially? Because, I can give it a year. If it doesn't pan out, I got a much better quarterback class next year.
Yeah.
At least on paper, I feel like every year they say it's a better quarterback class.
They do.
Every year.
Yeah, they always do. I don't think it makes sense to trade up. Because like that's really my argument is that if you don't have conviction that you'll move whatever you want, then trading up to 1 to take a guy, to me, doesn't really make sense if you don't have that conviction to trade. But
it depends on what you're giving up too. Like Connor Hughes came out last week and said he heard a rumor that 2 third-round picks would do it. If that's the case, do it.
Yeah, and I'd do that. I mean,
I'm doing that all day long.
2 third rounds would be too. Tennessee, they would have to fire their new GM.
2 third rounds, and I'll give you Kayvon Thibodeau. I mean, anything to get rid of Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yeah, I really think giving up the 65th overall pick that we have, next year's second, and Kayvon Thibodeau would be enough for us not to give up a first round next year. And I know the conversations are going to start with a first round next year. I know that's where it's going to start, but I don't think that's where it's going to end.
Happening.
I think they're going to get a first round next year from someone else. That's really what I think.
Then take it from somebody else.
Would they do that to miss out on Abdul Carter and trade down to 6? Would they even do that? I don't think they would do that.
Geno Smith is there.
Yeah, but
that's true.
But they've already said, the Raiders have already said point blank they're not guaranteeing they would not draft a quarterback.
Man, but they would not trade up. They would not trade up if they have Geno.
Why not?
Because Geno still
people forget that sometimes because he was a backup.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, I don't know what's in the milk nowadays, but quarterbacks are not dying. Like they're just staying around. I think Geno. How old is Geno? Like 34, 35?
Geno's got time left.
I think he's got a good 3 years left. I think he's got 3 years left.
34 years old. He'll be 35 during the season.
If you go to 6 to 1, if you go from 6 to 1, I mean we're probably talking two future firsts.
Exactly. And that's my thing is like how much conviction do they have? How much conviction do these other teams have on Cam Ward?
But you're going to give Geno a new deal in Vegas, and you're only going to give him probably 2 years worth of guaranteed money anyway as it is. Yeah. So it's not a big deal if you got to move on. And you know what? Maybe somebody looks at what Atlanta did and say, maybe they weren't so crazy after all.
I was the only person applauding that pick. People was like, it makes no sense. I was like, I literally said like 3 days before the draft, I was like, the Falcons are going to take Michael Penix Jr.
I love the pick for them. I hated it for Penix, but now I'm glad for him because of the way things panned out. I just felt bad for the guy because point blank,
I thought he wasn't going to get time. Yeah,
I would have taken him. If I was a Giants, I would have taken him. And I know you take a risk there at that point, but we have a great receiver. I don't regret getting Neighbors, obviously, but I think Penix is going to be special in this league. I really do.
Yeah. I feel like another caveat to this when we're talking about trading is, are you comfortable with not trading up and taking Shedeur? Like that Shedeur Sanders also matters in this equation, where it's like, how big is the gap for the Giants between Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders? because if they feel like they're still close to the same tier, and they don't, then they'll just take Shedeur and not have to worry about trading up.
Right.
But if they really love Cam Ward over Shedeur and they think that he's the guy, then that's where you consider the trade.
Here's the thing I keep saying as well with this whole thing is that anybody here a Will Levis fan?
No.
Absolutely not.
I hated him coming out of college.
So
I couldn't
why
believe
would you
anybody
want
liked
the
him.
quarterback they're willing to trade away? It makes you question it.
Wait, what do you mean?
The Titans don't want Cam Ward when all they have is Will Levis right now?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I just don't get it. I just don't
Listen,
get like the
apparently the
argument that people
Titans
are
are open for business. Apparently they're open for business. So hey,
I
that's
think
their
they're just
problem.
gonna listen to offers just to make sure that I'm missing something. I think Cam Ward goes 1 overall no matter what.
They're gonna
100%
fuck us.
agree.
They're gonna fuck us like they did the New England Patriots did.
They're gonna Sam Stafford. They're gonna bat Stafford us. That's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, they're gonna...
I think what they're gonna do is they want to take Cam Ward, but again, I think that if the Giants were to offer them next year's 1,
Of course.
this year's 3, and some more compensation, I think they would be open to moving.
Listen,
See,
we all
I
saw
don't-
Hard
see, I
Knocks, and the
don't
Patriots
know.
were willing to talk to Joe Sheen about trading up to get Drake May, but it would have been something ridiculously crazy. It's going to be the same kind of scenario.
I don't know. We're putting ourselves back in the same position that we did last year, where I talked about it all last offseason. I said there is 0% chance the Giants are going to pull off a trade with New England first, because Minnesota had 2 firsts and they weren't able to pull it off. So if Minnesota couldn't pull it off, we were definitely not pulling it off. And secondly, you will never win the battle with a trade partner when you want the same guy that team wants.
Yep.
Usually when you trade down or you trade up with a team, you want a player that team doesn't want. It becomes extremely difficult for that team like the Titans or the New England Patriots at the time, where it's like, do we give up on Drake May just for the guy that we're trading up? The people that are trading up in our position are going to get the guy that we want. We're putting ourselves in the same position. That's why this Indianapolis Colts game I'm going to remember for as long as I live, man. Because if Cam Ward ends up working out, it's going to be, oh my God.
I
that
still
game is
go
gonna
back to
haunt me.
2003 when the Jets allowed the Giants to beat them, and that's what made us have to trade up to get Eli Manning. I still remember that 20 years later.
Damn.
Yeah. But the thing I put in here, which would get a trade done by this simulator, is this year's obviously 3rd overall pick, the 3rd this year, and the 2nd next year. Would you get that done?
Hell yeah. In a heartbeat.
Yeah, I would do that.
In a heartbeat. I'll throw in Kayvon Thibodeau just for the funsies.
I'm not throwing Kayvon in.
You're not throwing Kayvon in.
I'm throwing Kayvon in because I just want to get rid of Kayvon.
I like Kayvon. It's I don't see the Giants re-signing him. I just don't.
If Kayvon was a 2nd round pick, everybody would love him.
I agree. I agree, but he was the 5th
but
overall pick,
I
and
understand
everybody's
that
going to compare him to Aiden Hutchinson. He's nowhere close to him.
But you couldn't get Aiden Hutchinson if you passed Aiden Hutchinson over for him. I get that. You didn't have that option.
What I'm saying,
let's be honest,
I'm not blaming. I'm not blaming the Giants. Yeah, he should be in Jacksonville. I can't. Trayvon Walker. Oh my God, that's another story. But I'm not blaming the Giants for not getting Aiden Hutchinson. I'm just saying that they were drafted 3 spots within each other. They better be damn near close to the same player, and they're not. And
Kayvon Thibodeau in high school
close.
was looked at as a generational player.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kayvon Thibodeau at Oregon was looked at as a generational player. Kayvon Thibodeau coming out of college had the quickest first step in college, and Kayvon Thibodeau got to the New York Giants and tried to become Michael Strahan. Completely changed his entire game to being a power rusher, and he stinks now.
That's true. That is true.
I don't get it. I don't get why
I still
he changed
say
his
when
game
you
in the
say
NFL.
stinks, I think there's 31 other teams that would take him in a freaking heartbeat. And I'm not saying he's a stud. He's not a stud. He's
When I say
above-average
stinks,
player.
when I say stinks, I don't.
The value.
When I say stinks,
value. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get that part. I'm just saying. To me, I try to take where you drafted him out of them. Are they a quality NFL player? And to me, he is a quality starter in this league. He's just not a star.
When I say stinks, I mean he was taken with the top 5 pick,
Oh, I get
and
it.
it's just not there.
But what I'm saying is we have so many holes on our roster, and I hear a lot of people saying, let's get rid of Kayvon. He's been a bust. Let's look at all these positions we have holes on. Why would we create a brand new one by getting rid of Kayvon?
Well, the reason that I say let's get rid of Kayvon Thibodeau, the biggest reason is that the Giants have a history of not getting anything for these players.
Yeah.
So I feel like we should try to get something before we just let this dude walk.
He's
Yeah.
going to be
Like,
a
we're just
5th-year
gonna let him
option. Is going
walk.
to be signed probably. That's
If-
already passed. I haven't heard anything about that yet. I know they were talking about it.
Yeah.
If what got passed?
His 5th-year option. I didn't hear
Oh
anything
no,
about
yeah,
that.
they didn't. They
Yeah,
have
they're
yet
gonna
to-
let him walk.
They've yet to put a 5th-year option on him. They've yet. I looked it up
It's
today.
like $16 million, I think, right, or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just
He's
don't
worth
think.
Yeah, it's
I
no
don't know if
problem
they
to
think
do
that.
that. But they're gonna let him walk. John Mara is going to be in the last season of his contract. John Mara isn't going to believe in trading a player in the middle of the season, and he's going to walk for nothing when we could get possibly a franchise quarterback moving him forward. So
Well, he knows he can negotiate the contract, throw in a medium Coke, and next thing you know, he's back anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah.
You want a free soda?
Drew's right.
Refills are not free, by the way.
But I guess with number 1, because we traded up, we're taking Cam Ward.
Yeah.
there you go.
Woo!
That's the
Nah,
only option
give me
there.
Tyler Shutt right now. Shutt.
Why would Tennessee's one?
Well, what
They
the
want
hell?
the
Tennessee
pick back.
offered
Wait,
to
wait.
trade
They
back
want the
the
pick,
ball.
and they
want the
said
pick
we
back.
changed our mind. We changed our mind.
3, 4, 4. I'm not taking that.
Well, hold on.
No.
Next year's first round pick as well.
No, it's
Oh my
very
God.
unrealistic. So we're taking the quarterback, Cam
We're
Ward.
going A+.
You know, in my mock trade, I have Tennessee. I have Kayvon included in the trade, and I have Tennessee giving us back their 168th.
Did you guys see Travis Hunter just dropped in that? He went to the Bears.
Derek Harmon went high. That's my guy. Siobhan Rebel. Yo,
Maybe Force coming
Jack
up soon.
Sawyer. Yeah, what is up with this one? We're gonna get some good picks here.
I don't think we need to trade back. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Let me see the board before I can say that, because keep in mind that the first trade offer.
Oh
was
my
a
God!
round pick
I
back.
would phone in Luther Burden in a heartbeat.
I was about to
Luther
say
Burden is there in the second round.
that's stupid.
What's this?
I'm
mock
taking
draft?
Luther Burden here.
I would
Yeah.
take
can't
Luther.
pass that.
Yeah.
Malik and Luther Burden.
Done.
B plus,
Oh my
kiss my
God.
ass.
I would say
Ratings are never right.
end the draft. That's it.
Jackson
Oh,
Dart.
there's Ben
Ben
Morrison's
Morrison's
got.
going to
Oh,
board.
there's Morrison
Wow.
out. Tyleek, Trey Harris. No, we already got a wide receiver. Caleb Johnson.
Remember, our next pick is in the 4th.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we got a while.
104. Let's see. Josh
Is it
Farmer.
a good time to mention our
No,
sponsor,
Farmer.
BetterHelp?
Yo, it's crazy because Giants fans, as far as Giants content creators, my best parts of the season are always like, as far as like view count goes, are always in the off season. When it comes to the season, nobody cares.
Mine is always draft time and the very first week of the season.
Yes.
And then you see the week goes like this, and then the rest of the
And
season. we
this is
kinda
our
start
time to
dipping
shine.
down. Oh my gosh!
All right.
This is our year.
Oh, show is in the
There he
3rd round.
is. If you want
Look
him,
at
or
all these
yours.
quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Will Howard, all the quarterbacks there now.
Yeah. All right.
I like that they have Tyler Shuck rated over Will Howard. I like that.
That's an interesting one.
What we
All
got
right.
for interior?
Did we get any trade offers so we can get some extra picks, perhaps?
Nobody
Jordan
offered
Phillips.
us. Nobody likes
Oh.
us. That's your defensive line right
There's Jordan
there.
Phillips. That's probably the only person. I'm
We got a
familiar
couple of
with right now.
defensive linemen there. Yeah.
I like
Who's the corner?
Peebles.
Only one I'm
Undersized a
familiar
little
with.
bit,
Phillips.
but, let's see what else. D line. Any other positions we're eyeing? Because I'm looking at D line. right now.
Oh.
O line, interior.
That's a tackle room. That's the guard room. Frazier's. I like Frazier. I think he had a very impressive Senior
Yeah.
Bowl.
So many quarterbacks. Sheesh.
I'm gonna look at the
Who's that corner?
corner.
I'm taking
Kobe.
Kobe. I'm
Kobe.
taking Kobe.
I think Kobe's a perfect scheme fit.
I think Seattle has
I
to
think he
take him
fits the
just to
scheme.
make it
I
very
think
confusing.
he's like a
Yeah.
better Cordell Flott.
Okay,
So-
first off, that is not a ringing endorsement. A better Cordell
Yeah,
Flott.
It's because he's really thin. It's because Kobe Bryant is
God.
like really thin. He's a really like lanky, thin.
You know,
smaller,
Cam
like-
Ward's a better Carson Wentz.
I heard that one.
Oh man, I like Kobe. Kobe plays like a dog, bro.
Who's
He
there
got-
at
he
edge
got
though?
that
I don't-
dog
Did we
in him.
look at edge?
Yeah, there was a kid from
Winston.
LSU was there.
Swinson's there. Oladejo's there.
Oh, Oladejo.
Maybe.
I like Oladejo.
Davian Jones has got some big ass arms.
Yeah.
I like Oladejo a lot. He's a project guy, and he's like first year at edge, but
Yeah,
he was really like, you could tell that he should be an edge rusher.
That's usually what the Giants do is they take project edge rushers that don't
Yeah.
develop.
Yeah.
And
No.
this would be like taking Owamebe Odighizu out of UCLA. Back in
DeMontre
20
Moore, he was a
15.
steal. Digge Zua, he was a steal.
Oh my god!
First
Yeah.
off, DeMontre Moore, people didn't realize this, was still playing football last year.
What?
What in the
He was
USFL?
playing in the CFL.
Yeah, CFL. We actually did a
What?
list. So last offseason, we did a whole list of like, we're kind of going back to previous draft years, like where are they now stuff. Because let's be honest, we're all content creators. We can all admit it, I think, freely. That there's times of the year you got to fill in. There's times like, what do we talk about?
Yeah.
And we're like, let's go back. It'd be fun to do it. I don't want to waste people's time when I do content, obviously. I'm like, that'd be something kind of cool. Let's go back and see who these guys are and see what's going on. He was still playing. I was like, what the hell?
DeMontre Moore, he was a Madden franchise legend for me. Dude
So, yeah.
would always get sacks.
So he didn't play this 24, but he played. He was at for at least the offseason was with the Montreal Alouettes in 23, and then played with the Calgary Stampeders in 23 as well. So yeah, he was still playing football, believe it or not, in 23.
Good for him.
Remember he got into a fight over the headphones?
Yes,
with
that's what
Cullen
killed
Jenkins.
him. Yep, that's what killed his career with us.
Cullen Jenkins.
Cullen
Other
Jenkins
issue.
snuck and got two pairs of headphones for his kids.
He's only 32. Actually, I thought he's older than that.
DeMontre?
Yeah.
Oh damn.
I would have thought he was like 29 to be honest.
No, I knew it was like 10 years ago
he's
or
like,
so.
bro, he was in Madden freaking 15 or something like that. He was.
So we taking edge, we taking corner.
I really like Oladejo. I love Kobe Bryant. I think he's a great scheme fit.
I would take Kobe Bryant. That would be me, but
To me,
If
what do
you-
we? We're gonna have to have a tiebreaker here because I'm looking at defensive line. Seeing there's a whole bunch. I've been saying all along, third, fourth round is my sweet spot to get a defensive lineman. I think because it's a very deep one this draft. So yeah, that's
what
where I'd be going.
What about Peebles then?
I like
yeah,
Peoples
you
personally.
guys' pick. I'm not familiar with those D linemen there. So you guys, if you guys want D line, I'm all for it.
Personally, I'm taking Peoples. I mean, he.
I would go Peebles.
too.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
All right, defensive line it is. Yes, Peebles. We're gonna do the entire alphabet here. A, B, C. That's trash.
Give me a D. We're gonna go D plus right now. Right now, Tez Johnson.
That's stupid.
There goes Oladejo. He's gone.
All right, let's see.
Belton.
I don't want to hear the word Belton ever again. Can't wait to get rid of that guy.
All right. Yeah,
One
I'm
trade
gonna
offer. No. Who cares?
No way in
about
hell.
Like, these are the most.
What kind of
useless
trade offer was that? A 2026 6-round pick.
Let's go
bro.
running back. I
to
see
the
Devin
first
Neal there, but let's see what else.
I
is
like
there
Devin
running
Neal
back.
here. I'm gonna be
round.
honest.
Devin Neal.
Who else is there? Is like somebody rated?
I like
low?
RJ Harvey.
Martinez.
Damian
There's
Martinez
Martinez
is
for you.
there.
Oh, Damian Martinez. I think he more so fits what the Giants need right now.
Yeah, let's see. Damian Martinez or Devin Neal. Both of them are powerful runners, but Martinez
Yeah.
is bigger.
You know what really ticks me off about last year? I mean, let's be honest, there's a lot of things that ticked me off about last year. I should be clear about that. But the fact that we never gave Turbo a shot.
I know.
Yeah.
Not even
I know.
one. Yeah, I completely agree.
Like, what do we got? I don't even know
To
what we
be
got.
fair-
Because they were trying to get that rookie record. That's why.
Yeah. To be fair, though, when he was playing in the preseason, I mean, if somebody just touched him, dude went down. Like
He's
He hasn't
like-
played
couldn't-
football in 2 years, though.
I know, but he couldn't break it. He's so small. Like he has no power at all.
Hard tackle heaven right there.
Yeah,
he-
I remember a safety just completely it was the Lions game. I don't know who it was. Safety came down, just hit him with his arm. Dude did like a damn 720 and fell to the floor. I'm like, my
And then-
God.
But the crazy thing is, it looked like if nobody touched him, like he's like he could.
I
that was
know
his
he
first-
barely touched him.
That was his first time getting hit in 2 years, though. You got to give it a chance.
Oh,
me,
man need to hit the gym, brother.
To
You
me,
gotta-
considering how this season was, that we didn't just go ahead and have some of these guys, towards the end of the season, just pop
Should
them
have
in.
brought
and see what they
back
can do.
Platzgummer.
Bryce Ford Wheaton is another guy. We should
Yay,
have
Sam.
gone ahead and thrown in the ball a bunch of that towards the end of the year. See what we got too.
All four Wheaton, yeah.
But I'm for running back here personally.
Yeah. So where are we going, Neal or Martinez?
I'm taking Neal. Unless you want Martinez and we get a D+.
I like Neal. I like Neal better.
Yeah, I'll take Neal. He's more because honestly, if we do go Damian Martinez, we can take him at 155 possibly because he's rated low here. So
Yeah.
But I'll take Devin Neal.
Drew?
I'm good with any of the running backs. We just need a second running back at this point, but I prefer one that's a little more power running back than he is. But it is what it is. So you get what you got there.
He's like an Ahmad Bradshaw Pacheco type of power.
Damn, Martinez went already. Sheesh. Oh, Kobe Bryant is still there? Oh my God, you can make it. Hey, phone that bitch in.
Kobe Bryant done
in the 5th round, right?
Goodbye, Cordell Flott. Let's go.
A+. We got an A+.
Yes. 221 is next.
Let's see. Was there an interior offense? It's not like I know the player.
I say it's going to be some kid from the Texas Christian Polytech University of Abilene. Like, there's McCord.
He's going to be gone. There's
we'll
no
see
way.
when we get to there. I was looking at safeties around this range. There's a guy called his name is escaping me now. Qatar out of Nevada. He's like the only center field safety I found late in these rounds, and he plays like a lot of. He had like 1,000 snaps in special teams.
I want nothing to do with North Carolina offensive lineman. Sorry,
Keaton Crawford.
Third time shy.
Yeah, nobody tell Drew that Lampkin's only 5'10".
Yeah, he's a small. He's like the most. It's weird. Like,
all right,
221.
So first, let me see was there a wide receiver. Let's see if like somebody fell for no reason.
Kobe Hudson. I love Kobe Hudson. He's a
I'm kind of curious what's going on if we're going with the Kirk Cousins route. Who's left the quarterback?
Fucking Brady Cook.
Oh God, no.
Oh my
Max
God.
Brosmer makes me sick.
Yo, he's the reason why Luther Burden's not a top 10 prospect, bro. Brady Cook.
Yeah.
That bastard.
Yeah.
We haven't touched O-line.
I was about to say, there's a
guard
that's what
there.
I was thinking.
Like, we gotta...
Oh, is Logan Brown is there. I'll take him. That's who I'm voting in. You guys can.
I'll take Garrett. You already know I'm taking Garrett Dellinger.
Oh yeah, that's
LSU. There we go. Logan Brown, former 5-star recruit.
Yeah, a 5-star recruit that was going in the 7th round of the draft.
Listen. It's because he was hurt like all of his college career.
About Kayvon Thibodeau living
but
off
he had a
of
phenomenal 2024. What the fuck?
Oh my God! You fucking just
game over.
Oh damn it!
They said, "Now you guys, we're too good at this."
The problem with this site is it does glitch up every once in a while.
That's why I do PFN.
If you put it again, we'll get the same damn guys. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on rapid. That way, we're not sitting here for the next 4 hours. Okay, let's see.
And did we still trade up?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna put that in.
Yeah. Give me that trade up.
Okay, let's see.
Give me Cam Ward. You know what's funny? I was not a Cam Ward guy like a year ago when everybody's like, "Oh, yeah, you gotta look at this guy." Or it was 2 years. It was like 2 years ago, wasn't it? When he was playing at Washington
Last year,
State.
he was going to be like a 4th round pick.
Yeah. Everybody's like, "Yo, you gotta check out Cam Ward." I'm like, brother, I don't want a guy that's a 4th round project guy. I don't want him.
Okay.
I bet you wish you had a 4th round project guy last year.
Anybody.
No.
People are saying we should trade for Joe Milton now because that's how bad things have gotten.
Yeah, Luther Burden's gone.
I'm looking at Gray Zabel here.
Oh, Gray Zabel's on the board?
Yep.
Oh my God. That's who I would go. That's who I would go.
All right. Gray Zabel it is?
I love Gray Zabel.
All right, we get just an A.
It's all right.
4th round, we
got a B+ coming.
Yep.
Going down each one.
Milrow.
Not Milrow, no.
They keep it. Tyler Shuck keeps going in 3rd round in this draft.
Don't know why.
Restrepo.
Here we
Savion Williams is there. I probably would.
I don't like TCU wide receivers.
I'm
tired of TCU wide receivers.
I'm feeling running back here.
There's Scatabo. There he is.
Freaking Quentin Johnston. Right? Wasn't he TCU?
Yeah,
he- I think he
Johnston,
was.
and then
And
you
never
guys,
take a
you guys
TCU
remember the
receiver.
Washington? Do you guys remember the Washington receiver out of TCU a long time ago, like in like 2016 or something like that? He was ass.
Yeah.
He went to Washington.
yeah. I'm for running back here.
Yeah, I'd take Scatterbo here.
Scatterbo.
Scatterbo with Tyrone. I'm sorry, Scatterbo will probably start.
All right, we got all
That's
A's.
fine though.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
134 is next. And we're already
Chris
there.
Paul.
We haven't attacked defensive
last
line
time-
yet, but
Kobe
Last time
Bryant.
Bryant.
Yeah,
Now
Kobe
Chris
Bryant,
Paul.
Chris Paul.
Yeah,
Michael Jordan in this draft.
Yo,
as well.
whatever
What's going
happened
on
to
here?
Ollie Gordon? I saw Ollie Gordon's name, bro. I remember when he had first round hype, and now it's like nobody, like for everybody forgets he's in this draft.
all right.
Yo.
What position are we looking at?
let's look at D line.
Yep.
Ty Robinson is the first one to 6 out.
Yo, how come I never heard of Ty Hamilton before? I watched Tyleek Williams on tape. I just didn't watch Ty
Because his
Hamilton.
brother Alexander gets all the hype.
Clever.
Yeah, let's.
Why
let's
do
just
we
go.
why do we pair Elijah Chapman with his teammate Elijah Roberts?
Usually getting a line of all SMU players is not usually a very good
Yeah, it's not optimal.
strategy.
Is he another like 5'11" defensive lineman?
Does somebody have a good analysis on Ty Robinson? Because I haven't looked him up.
Actually,
Yet,
don't
to be
let me
honest.
see, because one
I
of
don't
my,
know.
because our
Yeah, I
guy
haven't-
Brian, I think, did
I haven't done. I'll be honest with you. I haven't done too much work on
Yeah,
mid-round
so-
D
That's
linemen.
coming soon for me, but not yet.
Yeah, I haven't really gone into that.
let's see, 4th round, versatile, can play all spots on defensive front. Got a good motor, strong football IQ, diagnosis to play quickly. Weaknesses, little stiff, first step quickness, not at the level of an elite pass rusher. Inconsistent hand placement to initiate leverage, causing some mixed production, and struggles to finish plays, issues tackling in space and over pursuing. He had 7 sacks this past season for Nebraska.
Ran a 4.83 40, by the way, at the combine.
How what's his measurables?
Let's see.
483 is pretty good. Just trying to get like a good look at like what kind of lineman he is.
Yeah.
6'6", 310 pounds.
God damn.
6'6", a 6'6" D tackle.
That's
God damn. What is he, Deion Walker?
he's
That's
not
not
a diet
bad.
to play tight end. It seems like.
Yeah.
6'6", 310. That's not bad. My only problem is pad level.
He's like
As
a
a
basketball
DT.
player. Like
As a
Now
DT,
it's funny because I
6'6".
saw that on one site. Now Tankathon says 6'5", 288. That's quite a difference.
what?
Oh my God. Did he
What did
was
you
he
at the
one of those guys
combine?
that didn't do any measurables at the Senior Bowl or the Combine or
I'm
thing?
gonna find out.
Because then if they don't do those measurables there, they just go with what the schools are telling them.
Let's see. I'm gonna look at the were you looking at
I'm
the official NFL site?
That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, 6'5",
6'5",
288.
288. They're saying, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, let's go with that. I mean, 288. I'm not doing that. Not a D
Yeah,
line.
not 280. And especially at 6'6", he's not gonna get good leverage at 6'6".
It also explains why he ran such a good 40 time. Got long ass legs and no fat body.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a power forward.
At 280, they're
So-
gonna put his ass on the edge.
Honestly, probably the best player on the board is Savion Williams, to be honest.
You mean Savion Jones?
No, I think he means
Yeah,
Williams,
Savion Williams, I think.
yeah, the wide receiver.
Oh, wait.
Wide receiver.
Am I missing something where he's not here?
He should be at the top, I think.
No, I think he got picked already.
He's gone.
I think he was.
I just saw him.
he.
I don't know.
What's,
I think
what's
he
the
was there when
trades?
the
What's the
on
trade
the
options?
Scatterbo. I think he was there on the Scatterbo.
We have
Maybe
no
I just saw Savion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
I just feel like if we get, this is a spot to trade down.
I feel like linebacker would not be the
boy.
worst.
I would say if we
Wouldn't
do
be
lose a
worse.
Karake, especially.
Well, yeah, I haven't done zero. I'm talking zero work on linebackers. So you guys.
Exactly.
take-
Especially
not
mid-round, late round
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, I would take Chris Paul here because I think he's a fit for.
Let's take Chris Paul. He can.
Yeah.
He can.
Yeah,
know,
hopefully we can get Kobe
assist.
Bryant too.
He can get on a lot of assists.
Paul is a fit for Bowen's system. I read some reports on him. No,
Maybe Deontay Banks can give him 3.
nothing
Hold on.
changed about this.
What was the trade?
Oh, it was like moving back with Buffalo for like an extra 6th.
What's wrong with the extra pick?
I mean, we
I
can.
ain't doing no trades in the mid rounds, late.
Why
rounds.
not?
It was the late rounds.
It's already
It was,
gone.
like,
the
it was like
trade.
something like this, but yeah, they said it's not enough. So anyway,
All right.
yeah, there's a shit ton of guys that dropped. Frazier is one that sticks out.
I mean, it's fine.
Time record.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have
Quarterback number 2.
Riley Leonard.
Riley Leonard.
Oh my
It's
God.
Daniel Jones.
No, that's Jackson Dart. Oops, I said it.
Jackson.
Yeah.
I guess we might as well go with Frazier at this point. I don't
Yeah.
really.
I'm beginning to
Down
see a
goes
lot of people
Frazier.
I've never heard of before.
All right, B plus. So we broke the streak, but who cares?
We got enough offensive linemen, that's for sure now in this
Yeah,
draft.
we better. Let's see, 221.
Problem is we still got no D line.
You're right.
Yeah, we said fuck the defense. Here.
Yeah.
All right.
The way it's just the way the board fell, you know. just the way
Ahmed
the board fell.
Hassanin, Boise.
Howard Cross the
baby.
third.
Yep.
Ahmed
Never crossed the
Hassanin.
third would be happy to be drafted by us, that's for sure.
I think they're gonna do that too. I think they're gonna just take him just because.
You think so? I
I
haven't
don't
looked
think
at
so.
him yet, but
What's their
All right.
quarterback?
Quarterback?
Because if
Curtis
Riley
Rourke.
Leonard was still there, I would have taken Riley Leonard as a developmental 6th round quarterback.
Why, you want to develop a third quarterback?
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got Carson Wentz anyway, we're good.
I would actually take Curtis Rourke here, to be honest. But let's see. Let's see.
Here he's hurt and he's gonna be out the whole year pretty much, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he played through a torn ACL.
Yeah.
he played through a torn ACL.
Something
what?
like that. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Now you know his brother is Nathan Rourke we had earlier last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
For like 2 days,
Yeah.
and he got no
Well, I'm
rep.
telling you,
Hey,
every
hey,
time we
once
did a
giant-
video about him, every single time we did, people would swear that he's going to be like the next Warren Moon to come out of Canada. I'm like,
Yeah.
where are you seeing this? He's been on 3 teams now and done jack.
No.
Once a giant, always a giant.
Not always.
always
Not
a
always.
giant.
Not always.
But
hey, you guys may want Howard Cross.
Stackhouse just has a
if-
really great name. I don't
Yeah.
know.
If he wins,
Listen, Stackhouse
I'm
continues the
putting
whole
my vote
basketball
for.
thing.
I'm putting my vote for my man Ahmed Hassanin. So you guys can
Listen,
pick who you
Stackhouse continues the whole basketball thing. We got Kobe Bryant before. We got Chris Paul. Now we're getting Stackhouse.
Yeah.
I'm for D line personally here. I don't really
Yeah.
care who.
I have no preference to any of those guys, to be honest.
I think in this situation, the Giants would take Howard Cross.
They probably would. They probably would. What's his like measure? Like what kind of D line?
He's like a 3-tech.
He's a 3-tech. All right, big boy.
Let's see.
Let's see.
Howard Cross, the third scouting profile, 6'1", 285.
Yeah, he's like an undersized 3-tech guy.
And oh my God, he's got the
Isn't that the same
goofiest smile.
measurables as Johnny Newton?
He has like the goofiest smile possible in his NFL photo already. Like,
Curtis Rourke is still
I'd
here.
take Curtis Rourke here if he's still
All right,
there.
I'll phone it in.
let's go for it.
Let's go.
All right.
Here we go.
Move over.
He's and B's.
He's our Kirk
Tommy
Cousins.
DeVito.
All right. I have saved it somewhere, but
Somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah, at this point, I would hope that God we signed a number 1 corner.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
I'll
Oh,
tell you,
yeah.
we're going to. There's no doubt in my mind. We're going to.
Yeah, I think so.
yeah,
too.
we're gonna
doubt.
get one of those guys.
They will throw they will throw money at him. Like we watched Hard Knocks last year when he had offensive linemen, and Joe Sheen's like, "Yeah, just give him another $1 million. Give him another $2 million. Give whatever. They don't care."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
No, they don't. So with the first pick, we traded up for Cam Ward. The 34th pick, we got Gray Zabel. 104, we got Cam Scatabo from Arizona State. 134, we got a linebacker and Chris Paul Jr. 155, we got Miles Frazier, offensive lineman from LSU. 221, we got Howard Cross, defensive lineman from Notre Dame, who is the son of Howard Cross. And 248, quarterback Curtis Rourke out of Indiana as a developmental quarterback.
now, am I the
Well-
only one before Howard Cross the third came around that didn't even realize Howard Cross was a junior?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen the second or junior behind his name. I don't know.
But I'll send it over for final thoughts because we're about 2.5 hours in. I'll start with Drew, Diggy, and then KB.
Yeah, so like I said before, quarterback. I love that we did 2 quarterbacks in this draft. I've actually done that a couple of times. It's funny, I've done a couple of things quarterback related like that. I've done mock drafts where I've done 2 quarterbacks. I've also done mock drafts where I take Shiloh in the 7th round just to give Shedeur a friend in the locker room. So like this whole season is predicated on getting a quarterback. And as we look at this is the season that Joe Shane is trying to prove that he deserves to keep this job past this year. And I know that people say playoffs are bust, whatever. No, to me, it's quarterback or bust. You better have a legitimate quarterback room for the first time, basically, in the Joe Shane, Brian Dable tenure if you want to keep the job past this season. And, you know, it's just, I'm so sick of watching the worst NFL in offense. I mean, worst offense in the NFL, and just seeing how inept we are scoring points. It's almost like we're going back to the days with Jason Garrett, where it's like we were okay. We got a field goal. Woo, field goal. Like, I can't even think the last time a quarterback for the Giants has come close to sniffing 30 touchdowns, 25 touchdowns. Like, just
2019
numbers that should be like normal to get. And we just can't get it. So I'm just hoping for a season that I'm for once not embarrassed to be a Giants fan, basically, because that's the point I'm getting. I feel like we're almost getting as bad as Cowboy fans talking about our rings now. Like, it's been enough time that we can't be bragging still. Like, the Eagles have won 2 since. The Commanders turned it around within 1 season, and not just because of the quarterback. Daniels gets all the credit, but new quarterback, new ownership, new coach, new GM, new everything. But here we are running it back for continuity purposes and keeping their GM and coach. But hopefully we got an actual legit quarterback, a leader of this team, because this team's definitely lacked leadership there. And just hoping for something better than last year, that's for sure.
All right. Diggy?
Yeah, I mean, I won't add too much more to that. We just need to have somebody in here that can hopefully be good at quarterback. I mean, that's really all we want. If we can finish this season feeling like we have a quarterback of the future, whether it be Justin Fields, whether it be, I don't know, whoever's out there in free agency, or whether it be somebody in the draft, hopefully we can feel good, and our offense will be more productive than it's been the last couple of years.
KB?
Yeah, had a lot of fun talking off season with you guys. You know, we talked about a bunch of different things that we even did on mock draft. But one thing that I look back, even at the mock draft that we did, which I think was extremely unrealistic, but a very good mock draft that we did, I still don't feel like the Giants are that much better, even if we were to get those players. That really tells where the Giants are as a roster, as a franchise right now. But you know, the days will keep winding on, and we'll see who are going to be the next New York Giants this next coming week. You know, hopefully we get ourselves some stout players at certain positions like corner, or you know, offensive line, you know, specifically the interior. But yeah, I mean, I don't think the quarterback videos and the quarterback topics are going to stop until the actual draft happens in free agency. So looking forward to that. But yeah, had a lot of fun, man.
Make sure you go subscribe to these great content creators and follow them on social media. Drew from Two Giant Goofballs, Diggy, and of course KB. Like, comment, subscribe here. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or drops. Appreciate coming back. We'll be obviously covering free agency and everything down to it. Appreciate you guys for being 2.5 hours in and almost 12. And by the way, it's the opposite of daylight savings time for anyone who doesn't know that. So just keep in mind you will be losing
an hour.
So is that tonight or
that's tonight? We should have kept us at an hour and a half.
Well, thank God I don't work tomorrow, so I'm good.
Well, but we appreciate you guys for coming out, and we will see you later.